I'd like to call the City Council June 1st, 2020 meeting to order at 7:02 p.m. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, are there any additions or corrections to the agenda tonight?
One addition that you guys wanted to discuss that we didn't change on the agenda is maybe a discussion of whether or not to open the docks or to set a date to open them. So that'd probably be under new business C.
Okay. Any other additions? With that one addition, would somebody like to make a motion to accept the agenda tonight?
I'll make a motion to accept the agenda with the aforementioned change on new business.
Okay, there's been a motion made. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
And with that second, Stephanie, would you call roll, please?
Councilor Wagner? Aye. Mayor Hobart?
Aye.
Councilor Allen?
Aye.
Councilor McNair?
Aye.
Councilor Webb?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, thank you. There are no presentations tonight, so I'll move right into my mayor's report. And exactly about 80 days ago, our government, local government, and state government, and federal government asked us to stay home, stay safe, and to flatten the curve. And we did that, and I'd like to talk a little bit about that in my mayor's report. We only had less than 20 cases in those 80 days in our county. And I talked to the Columbia County Health official about 2 weeks ago, Michael Paul, and at that time, it was almost 3 weeks ago, there were 14 positive cases, and Michael assured me that 12 of those 14 have recovered. Since that period of time, we've only had about maybe 3 additional. So we're still under 20, and which is amazing. And it's turned over our lives completely, and it's really difficult to lose your job and go through all the hardships that we are asked to do with a virus that we can't even see, and it's only affected 20 people in our county in the last 80 or 90 days. It's amazing. But I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank the people here in this community, and I wrote down some of the people I want to thank and recognize for helping to flatten the curve. The first responders, our police force put in a lot of extra overtime. Doctors and nurses at our own health clinic they got laid off. Small business owners, the restaurants, they did their best to provide takeout service, and actually I think it worked very, very well in Vernonia here. Grocery store workers, parents that work full-time with children at home trying to homeschool them, teachers trying to get schoolwork to students, our own city workers spent a lot of time cleaning up the restroom in City Hall, and that was a mess one morning. And, I'd like to personally thank the staff for all what they've done to adapt to these changes, you know, because our staff has children in school, and so it's a real hardship. So I just wanted to recognize all you folks and thank you, and just to say as we're moving on to the unknown, this summer there's going to be some changes. And Vernonia is not going to look the same in August anymore. We are going to put up the swimming pool, I think, in about 10 days, but it's going to be different here. And none of us know what it's going to look like in the fall. They still don't know what the school's going to do, and there are going to be changes up there. Anyway, I just want to ask people to continue what you're doing. You guys are doing great, and maintain the 6-foot social distancing, be respectful and courteous to others. And the last thing I want to say, if you're sick, stay home. So that's the most important thing. So that's basically my report. So.
Thanks, Mayor. Well said.
Councilor committee meeting reports. I kind of have one. I got a card from Irene Brady in the mail today, and it's a picture of the new senior center. And I'd like to read what she wrote to the seniors. Kind of gives you an update of what they're doing. Dear seniors, I am sending greetings and well wishes to you and letting you know that I am missing you. The new building is coming along very nicely. The colors are beautiful and the design of the interior is wonderful. It will be welcoming home to all of us. I just hope we can have fellowship there as soon as it is completed. The thrift store is open on a limited schedule. Donations are being accepted. Call the senior center office for times and rules. We will be serving homebound meals. We have some wonderful donations that have helped with the program. Now that the income from the thrift store has been greatly affected by the virus. Thank you for the donations. Pinochle playing will begin again on June 5th at the cabin here on Friday. Hope to see you then. Wishing you well. Sending you love, your President Irene. So, just wanted to share that with the seniors. They're excited to get back, and they're really excited about the new center. So, anybody else have any? Bruce, do you have anything on the committee?
No, we held our kind of an impromptu Memorial Day ceremony that I was really proud of the people that participated. Thank you, Mayor, for being here. Bob Perry played his pipes, and everybody really enjoyed that. And Pastor, how did his last name? Yeah, he gave a pretty inspirational little talk that I thought he did an outstanding job. And you know, it wasn't what we normally did, but we at least showed the color a little bit. Thank you for posting that on. That was an outstanding job of putting that out there. I would have messed that up if I could. Did a good job.
Thank you, Bert. Okay.
We haven't had any meetings, obviously,
Right.
due to COVID, but a follow-up with what Bruce talked about the cemetery. In 40 years, I've never seen the cemetery look so nice, and I want to publicly thank everybody who was involved in that, and our groundskeeper's done a great job up there. So
That's where I failed just now. I meant to mention that.
I missed the service, but I was up there later in the day when I got
I'll let you
home.
finish. Yeah.
Anyway, I did take a drive up there and enjoyed it for a few minutes, and it was really nice.
Mayor, if I mind, I'd like to add a little something.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
That's been on my mind ever since that. You know, when I first became involved in the council, we didn't have staff I think, care to the degree that we do today. It's been a long road. The city administrator, of course, she was the mayor at that time, and that was her committee, and Bob and her great dear husband. Both of them put in a lot of time out there, and I was right there, I witnessed it. And that was kind of the beginning. I started to move forward on that. Mike did a good job up there, but Ben, and the combination of Ben, Mike, and Tom, and Ben, especially, not taking anything from you,
Oh, no.
but Ben is just a driving force up there. You can't say enough about him. Tom does a really good job. He compliments him really well, and you do a good job of letting them do what they do. You know? So I just want to say how much I really appreciate the effort that's going on there. It really is something dear to my heart, you know, and to go up there, like you said last, it was just beautiful, you know. And I know there's more things coming.
Yeah.
You know, there's bigger things, and it's just really going to be, that's probably the most beautiful cemetery in the area. It sits on top of the hill, you know, looks up, man, who wouldn't want to be their last resting place, anyhow? You probably want to go down to the river.
I caught the dog walkers up there too.
Yeah, they keep you grass for life.
Okay, thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Joe.
Thanks for letting me say it.
Yeah. Okay, it's time for our public hearing. I'm going to go ahead and read the protocol for that. This is the time scheduled for a public hearing regarding acceptance of the City of Vernonia's fiscal year 2020-2021 city budget as presented by staff. We will now take public testimony. Each person will be allowed 5 minutes. After everyone has had the opportunity to speak, we will close the public hearing and deliberate. The following are rules of order. Number 1, no person shall speak without first being recognized by the chair and stating his or her full name and residence address. Number 2, no person shall be disorderly, abusive, or disruptive of the orderly conduct of the hearing. 3, there shall be no audience demonstrations such as applause, cheering, display, signs, or conduct disruptive of the hearing. Such conduct may be grounds for immediate termination of the hearing by the council. 4, no person shall present irrelevant, immaterial, or unduly repetitious oral argument. 5, the mayor, members of the council, and with the approval of the chair, the city attorney, and any other officer or official employee of the city may question any person who submits oral argument. 6, the council may set time limitations for this proceeding, but in so doing must provide proponents and opponents equal time to present arguments. The time limit set will be 30 minutes. We will now take public testimony. In order to use our time efficiently, you are requested not to repeat testimony or read testimony already submitted in writing. Prior to addressing the council, each person shall come to the podium and state his or her name and address, which will become public record. After everyone has had the opportunity to speak, we will close the public hearing and begin deliberations. Are there any proponents who wish to speak in favor of the acceptance of the City of Vernonia fiscal year 2020-2021 city budget as presented by staff? Okay. Are there any opponents who wish to speak against the acceptance of the City of Vernonia fiscal year 2020-2021 city budget as presented by the staff? Is there anyone who is neither for nor against the acceptance of the City of Vernonia fiscal year 2020-2021 city budget as presented by the staff? Who would like to make a comment? Is there any rebuttal from the staff? Okay. This concludes the public testimony. and oral argument portion of the hearing. I will now close the public hearing at 7:18 p.m. Okay. Are there any topics from the floor tonight?
Hold on, don't you use this one?
Didn't know where my spot was.
I don't think you called for stuff. In there, in the script was a seven for
It's just the copy one right here.
Right, I mean, it's script, there's,
Oh,
is it a big close and redo it?
I think so.
Okay. So you guys will see there's a staff report in here regarding the budget.
Yep.
So once we were all wrapped up, I noticed a couple of things, well, it just became things that changed in the meantime. So the CDBG fund, we talked about on our very first meeting, and in that fund, we had budgeted for a transfer back into the general fund in the next fiscal year. Well, by the time we got to the general fund, I had determined that it was actually going to happen before the end of this year. So, and for whatever reason, in the proposed budget, there was no transfer in the general fund. So the general fund budget is correct as it was proposed. There's no changes to that. But the CDBG fund, the only line item in that budget was the transfer out. That will now be zero because I've already done it. It's happened. So that is irrelevant for next year. So that will just go to zero. And then in the streets fund, we were planning to get the paving project done prior to June 30. That's not going to happen.
What project, sorry?
The paving project that we have the grant, the streets grant fund
From last year's funds or this year's funds?
from the 19-20 grant bucket. So those are now, we're not going to be doing that work in order to get that paid, reimbursed before June 30. So that, all that money is going to be moved to the next year's budget. So we're adding 100,000 to the income in the grants line item. We're adding 100,000 to the contract services in the expense to take care of that. So those are the only changes to the approved budget.
Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
So then I would be anticipating we're going to do double work in the Sheriff Street.
No, we haven't applied for or been awarded the next grant yet.
Right.
The cycle just opened up. So we'll be doing
Assuming
that.
that they did,
Yeah.
and we've been successful.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so there is a chance that we would get funding in September, October, and do it in the spring before the end of this coming fiscal year, two pots of money, but it's not a given.
So the summer we'll do last
The money,
year's.
yeah.
Yeah.
And possibly in the spring we'll do the.
Yeah, we'll apply. Yeah.
So with that, the first deal is that zeroing out of that old CDBG money, did we put that into a pot? Did that come out of the general fund originally, 100,000? So
No, 35.
35,000. So how do we arrive at 100,000? Can you take me through that?
100,000 is streets.
Yeah,
Nothing to do with
The CDBG is 35?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I apologize.
It was
So-
what we were going to go in the negative. I mean, we couldn't do that with the fiscal year ending, so we
Right.
transferred it in there. It's been in the pot, paid back for,
Yeah, it was just, we expended it before June 30. We got it after June 30.
Okay, so it's just a zero sum?
It's just, yeah, we just borrowed money.
Yeah.
We paid it back.
We borrowed out of the general?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
So it
already,
doesn't change the carryover?
no, because there is, yeah.
Thank you.
Then that first motion is what you guys need to make for this, and then the second motion is for later, right?
Yeah.
are there any other questions?
So you said it doesn't change the carryover, but it does change the carry forward into this next fiscal budget. We will be plus 35 grand.
No, because I already got it.
It was in there.
It was in there. I had made a mistake. In the general fund, I budgeted it to happen this year because I did that one last. And then the CDBG fund was already done. That budget was already written. By the time I got to general fund, the actuals and stuff had changed enough that I knew, in talking with Josette, we knew we were gonna finish that project up before the end of June. So that, yeah, so it was.
You had it coming in.
It came, yeah, the proposed budget came to you guys as there was a hiccup in it where the transfer out didn't have a corresponding transfer in, because in the general fund, I had already forecasted that it would happen this year. So yeah, that carry forward is not gonna change.
Just a question of transparency.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Of course, Angie, the CBD grant pays the contractor, right? So you have a pot of money still because you're paying at 80% and then at 90%. What's her holdback for the 10% for the warranty and final?
Retainage is 5%.
Huh?
Retainage is usually 5%.
Right. How would the fund be zeroed out if we have to retain that till past June 30th? Obviously, not going to be done till probably June 30th.
Oh, no, they're almost done.
Yeah.
They did their final lift and they have some sealing to do and a couple final inspections.
Well, things pop up, and then it's the only way you get them to come back is if you hold that for at least 30 days or something, or 60 days. I think 90 is probably more. You might look into that.
But it's CDBG, they're not gonna let us just hang on to it and leave an open grant, just,
So there'll be
It's
no
different than what we do.
funds held back when they say we're done, walk away before you punch listed and went through?
well, their final bill will have the bills for retainage. Yeah.
What is it? Can you repeat that?
They'll bill us for retainage on their final invoice.
So you'll have that whole back.
Yeah, and that's where,
Yeah,
we're not gonna pay it out if there's not, if it's not.
But it'll be done before the 1st of July,
Yeah.
and that's when the fiscal year
And,
starts.
yeah, and if for some reason it isn't, then that money's, yeah, we'll have to do a supplemental and I'll roll the next year, but
Okay.
yeah, the money's not gonna go away.
I just want to make sure you weren't getting yourself in a situation where
No.
we've said we've closed this, so we're just going to give them all the money.
No,
Yeah, I understand your concerns, and, you know.
that's how we operate.
And I understand it's still difficult. I understand it's a big pot.
Well, you know, I trust you, but there's been occasions in the past.
Not here, though.
No, right, and I'm just saying, that's where the.
But we held on to the retainage for the wastewater treatment project for over a year.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're not, you don't have to worry about us.
But I think when they did the parcel plume the first time, you know, and it came back, it was said the end was supposed to be a 9-inch plume, and it was 6 inches. Somebody in my talking to people through Tetra Tech and the contractor that had done it, that guy worked for them, I think it was Brown, I don't remember who.
Brad Burgess.
Yeah, they had not done their due diligence. And by the time that they, you know, and here they should have held for that. So I understand your concerns. You know, it's because you normally.
Sometimes it takes, sometimes it takes a while to occupy the building, find the problems. And with COVID going on, we might not be occupying it very much, and then you find out 3 months later that the whole sewer system backs up. So I just wanted to know if we weren't getting in such a situation where,
Do you have a warranty, some kind of a red warranty on that work?
Well, you mean on like the structure?
Yeah, just.
Not really, because we've been watching it the whole time. But all the equipment and systems, we have warranties.
Yeah, I don't think it's why I don't trust the work that's being done by staff there. Because you guys are on top.
Yeah, they're not getting away with anything.
Yeah, no.
They don't like me very much, which is right where they should be.
I think standard is a 1-year warranty, at least in where I work.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't think it was excited.
He looked like he was gonna say something.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, to amend, yep.
I'll make the first motion to amend the budget, recommended by the budget committee with the aforementioned changes.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Councilor Webb, second. Would you take roll call, please, Steph?
Counselor Webb?
Aye.
Counselor McNair?
Aye.
Counselor Allen?
Aye.
Mayor Hobart?
Aye.
Counselor Wagner? Motion carries.
Thank you, Angie.
Do we do, wait?
The second one goes with the resolution.
I think I asked the same thing. All I remember is-
Okay, Is there any topics on the floor tonight?
as well.
Thank you.
Information that will accommodate his speaking,
Oh.
in case it's needed.
Okay. Don Nideros. Did I pronounce your last name correct?
Close.
Close.
Neither of us. Hi, bear with me, I'm not public speaking. My name's Don Needross, I'm around the house here in Vernonia. And I'm here to contest a charge for water. I was notified recently that I had water in the house, in the rental house. And I promptly fixed the leak the same day I was notified. And now I'm being told I'm going to charge over $300 for that leak. I recently renovated my house, and I have here 8 months of water bills where I paid $1,100 for a vacant house, and now I'm being charged another $300 plus for this leak. I own several rental houses in this county. And if I'm on this charge, makes me call into question future investments in this town. That's trying to put it as simply as I can. If you have any questions, please ask. I'd like to see that bill a little bit.
Do you want a little background?
Sure.
Okay, so when the meter reads came in, we noticed a very large leak at Mr. Needroff's property. So when he came in, he did promptly fix it within that 1 to 10 day time period that first day. So we told him the remedy for that was the application you guys have in front of you on the ordinance that's laid out by council, has asked staff to use as the policy. And so the water usage fee was around $688.45, I think. And so we told him he could fill out this paperwork, and he was in that first 10 days, submit some receipts, and we could cut it in half. The 300 remaining is what he's talking about, is the additional. And I explained to him on the phone that staff has to follow the policy set by council, but there was nothing stopping him from coming to talk to you all about whether that policy was fair on his behalf or contesting that he thinks it should be different than that. So that's why he's here today. Yes.
If it was my responsibility, like I was digging in the yard and broke a line, or didn't pay attention to a leaky faucet or something like that, but this was a massive leak, and there was no sign. It was between the meter and the house. There's no puddle of water on the ground. There's no wet dirt. There's nothing. It's a matter of digging a bunch of holes until I found the leak, and fortunately I got it solved on that day. And
Go ahead, Jar.
Is it Dawn, right?
Yes.
Dawn, what was it an old galvanized line?
no, it was black plastic that the house was built with in 1977.
And did you replace the whole line?
No, I replaced the section that was first. Didn't make sense to me to replace from the meter to the house, and it was just that much. When I replaced 2 feet of the line, but
What do you think could have possibly broke there?
pardon?
What do you think possibly caused the failure?
I have no idea.
You don't know.
My best guess is laurel bush roots. It's 2.5 feet underground.
Where's this at?
895 East Alabama, the corner of Alabama and Spencer. And if there's more leaks like this, absolutely, we'll replace the whole line. But it seemed overkill to do that. This is a one-time thing.
Councilor Webb.
So when we see that come up on our report, does staff go out and shut that meter off?
We call them immediately and then tell them they have water leak, and then if they want us to come shut it off, we shut it off.
Okay, so you got hold of them and gave them
The city shut it off.
that option to shut it off?
Yeah, we shut it off. If we don't get a hold of anyone, we just shut it off to be safe.
Okay.
But if we get a hold of someone and say, hey, we've seen this really massive water leak on the reeds, it's the first thing they do.
And I'm glad she shut it off.
So, yeah, because it's out of the bill.
Mayor, another question. So Don,
Yeah,
was the house occupied?
yes.
Yes.
How long had it been occupied?
Since last July.
So there's okay, we're talking July, so you got a year's, close to a year's, 10 months, 8 months worth of usage there.
Yes.
So what's your average usage?
I don't know.
21, I think it's around 21,
2,100 gallons, and it'll jump to what?
300,000.
Oh, shit.
300,000?
Yeah, we've had a million. The people didn't want to fix it.
Right,
One of the churches paid the bill
yeah,
for several years.
yeah.
Well, yeah. That's their prerogative, you know.
I try not to keep my girls in that type of disrepair.
Did you notice the loss of, that's pretty big leak. Are you the cat?
It turns out,
You don't have to answer these questions.
I am actually here.
Can you state your name first?
My name is Sean Cullen, I'm a resident at 895 East Alabama Avenue. On the day that the leak was brought to my attention by the city workers who were out there by the meter, because a friend of mine said, somebody parked out there. And I just kind of looked out to see what was going on. And they came and told me there's just a massive water loss. And I'm immediately going all around the house. I'm thinking maybe into the crawl space. We walked around the yard. We couldn't even find a depression. We had no idea where this was coming from. When he told me 300,000 gallons, I was thinking, you would think you would notice, because Dawn is same day repair. If something goes wrong, I mean, we had a little tiny leak in the room. He was out there that day.
Well, there's no question we repaired it.
And so he came out that same day, but we didn't have any visual indication. And the only indication we had was when the city alert, came up with the unusual water usage.
You guys must have water pressure.
And so it went on for a good part of the month without us being able to know. And I was thinking, him getting kind of stuck like that was terrible because we didn't have any indication of the leak, and he said no call. So that's all I said.
Well, the one thing I would question, Don, is that, what did you say the house was built? 77? If you've got a problem with that main coming in, that lateral coming in off there, you may encounter it again.
if I do,
Well, let me finish mine.
sorry.
If the council so chooses, in my opinion, to waive this, then if it happens again in the next near future, without replacing that, that makes it a little bit harder to justify that, you know, I mean, it's, we have to manufacture that water as a community.
Sure.
And it costs, there's a certain level of cost that goes along with that. It's certainly not probably to the extent that it costs money to provide that. So, you know, it's not only the chemicals, it's not only the electricity, but it's all. And I know you do. I'm just stating this for the record. So I would think that maybe you might have some issues with it. Wasn't there a problem with
That black poly?
Yeah, black poly.
Was it black poly with no joints? Was it black poly, single roll, no joints?
Correct.
Yeah, I think there was some issues with some of that stuff. I would probably.
That's one of the reasons why I'm not there.
Well, the house next door was built at the same time.
Yeah.
and the meters right next to each other. So it's,
Look, if you lose 300,000 gallons of water and you don't see it on top, you know that it's going down. This country is that way. So that means that country, this geology in this country it shifts. This land is moving all the time, believe me. So, you know, there's pressure being put on it. I mean, but rather than that.
well, to your point of all the charges that the city incurs to get the water delivered, I still pay $1,100 for a vacant house.
Yeah.
With literally no water use. And now I'm going to get charged another $300 for something that I didn't even know about. Sure.
So you just said that it's a vacant house?
No.
It was vacant when I was renovating it, and
He kept the water on the whole time.
Right, but you've been renting it since July,
right.
so must be. Okay.
When did this happen? What month?
Just now.
This happened on Tuesday. The day after Memorial Day, the meter reader apparently read the meter the week before.
He reads them on the 22nd.
There we go, 22nd, by the 26th, and he did the numbers and said, hey, something's up, you need to fix it, and they shut it off. So I came out, I fixed it. I don't know what else I could have done.
No matter which way this goes, Don, my honest opinion would be to run a new PVC line in there, a day of digging and $20 worth of pipe, and you wouldn't have to worry about, maybe you're gone for 3 days, next time it's 1,000,000 gallons, you know? So a failure once I would be, like the counselor was saying, it could liable to be a symptom of a rotten line or something, so we'd hate to have you come back here again. But that would just be my recommendation to you. You can do it obviously what you would like.
Go ahead, Council.
So, I have an ordinance in front of us. I assume that this has been debated by previous councils ad nauseam, so.
Well, this policy came because this used to be the forum in the house, someone asked me to get this.
Right.
And council wanted to kind of quit having to come before them, so they developed a policy, which was the scale. The 1 to 10 days is 50% off, 11 to, is it 15, I don't know, whatever, you see this.
Yeah.
So the only difference would be is if you guys wanted to make a higher percentage for a shorter amount of time within, if you wanted to split the 1 to 10 into 2 sets and make a higher percentage, you could change your policy. You can make it, if it's within first, second, or third day, you get more off.
That would have to be changing the ordinance.
Changing the ordinance,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Which we'd have to go through a hearing.
You'd have to do it at your next meeting. But that doesn't mean you couldn't, if that's the way you're going, you could stay the fee until.
It does allow them to appeal to the council if they want to change the amount, even in the ordinance without changing it.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
We still have the option.
Yeah, you can change it without changing your policy. You can change his fee without messing with your policy, or you can choose to change your policy as well.
Joseph, can I ask you a question? If this happened on Tuesday, the 26th, is that what you said?
That's when we got the read report back from the meter reader.
Nobody had any idea prior to that.
Right, here's what I'm getting at. So when do they normally read the meters? Because Monday was a holiday, so did it get delayed due to a holiday and he would have found out sooner because if it hadn't been for the holiday?
Well, they usually get read on the 21st, 22nd.
Okay, this was the 26th. and
It usually takes them, that's not counting weekends, they don't give us a report on the weekends, so usually takes them 2 days in the week to get the report back, or more than that, the days in between the following weekend.
So there
We
was,
do the days counting from when we found it and notified them. Once they're notified, that's when the first day is in the scale.
But the holiday would have some effect on that.
On the gallons that went through there, sure.
Okay, that's all I wanted to get at.
Yeah, prior to the last meter read, prior to that, it could have been broke all month, you know.
Right.
And,
Right.
The point is that, well, anybody else?
Go ahead. From staff. Was there, the prior read was absolutely
Regular.
normal?
Regular.
Or within,
No, it was 2,100 gallons.
oh, so it broke sometime after that read?
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
Wasn't-
After April 22nd.
Well, I might remind the council and Dawn that we generally don't make a decision when we, at this time of the agenda with the audience participation, but I would like to end on this note, a path forward from us to be able to maybe help you at a future council meeting. Would that be,
I think we can on this though, make a decision. Am I wrong?
I think since you guys already deliberated, it's kind of a mute point. You might as well just go ahead and make the decision now rather than talk
okay,
about it.
sorry, yeah,
Otherwise, it'll be
Yeah.
Be my opinion.
Did you want to continue with anything there?
no, that's about all I had to say. I kind of want to leave it up to you guys.
I was just going to say something. It sounds like the owner, the landlord, property owner, but did his due diligence and bring it fixed it as soon as possible, as soon as you were notified. And that's kind of what we're looking for. The goal isn't to punish you. You know, I mean, I don't know.
That's kind
It
of,
seems, what was the usage, 300,000 gallons? So what was this consumption cost?
688.45.
60, and we're dropping it down to, right off the bat, by ordinance, we're dropping it down to 340 or something like that.
So if you chose a different percentage, if that's the way you're going, and you chose to do 75%, some of it's still, they have to have some charge in there, right? Because
Right.
the normal, right? But it'd probably be more like $36 or something on a normal charge. So you could pick a different percentage if that's where you're going.
Well, personally, just to the council, my opinion is that I don't want to overcharge somebody, especially if they've done their effort. I would like to see something done to affect that lateral so that you don't encounter this problem again. Because there's no apparent reason why it broke. So with that kind of leaves you, doesn't that leave you a little bit worried that it's going to do it again without having a reason that maybe somebody drove over with a vehicle, something this, that, or the other thing, or freeze, or...
there's no, it's not in a place that can be driven over. The only thing I can say is that there's a laurel hedge and there's a fir tree, and it runs between the two.
Did you know?
When I dug it out, there were roots, but not around the pipe, so I don't know that it did.
Yeah.
I think what they're trying to say is it might just be that the pipe's failing in its entirety. The age of it, the condition of it, and if it bursts there, it could burst anywhere.
Well, there,
Yeah.
See, Don...
I mean, that's a real story.
Don, just to interject a little bit, from my standpoint, I have a fiduciary responsibility as an elected official for the whole community. You know, this is not a profit-making business here. This is a community-owned water district that everybody puts into. You know, so if it was my pipe that was breaking and I was in here asking for that, I would expect that people would be questioning questioning me about, what's the issue with it. You have a reason why the dang thing broke. If you don't have a reason about a reason, then you might have a problem with the quality of your pipe. That's what I'm left with, you see where I'm coming from? I have to have something to defend the principal position. Or else somebody's going to say, hey, what the hell are you doing?
Well, as I see it, if it was the roots, it would require either taking a backhoe and digging a ditch big enough that prevents roots from interfering again, or encapsulating it into conduit or something, so it has to go through that first, or take out the tree and the bushes, and none of it's going to be cheap.
I just try to be right.
It can't be just the pipe, because the roots will do the same thing.
So, in my other world, I work for a nonprofit, and one of the things we do a lot of is housing rehab. And those particular pipes, both the black and the white, do tend to randomly fail for no reason in that particular area, basically in the 70s to the 80s, particularly. Don't know why. Usually it's the white ones, but often the black ones as well. So it does just have a catastrophic failure for no reason at times. There's no rhyme or reason that we see that many times we're doing. That's just a informational point for that. And I will reserve any other comments.
Okay, thank you, Susan. We had a water leak this year up at St. Mary's Catholic Church. And I found the leak because I mowed the lawn up there. And so we shut off the water correctly and got it fixed. And then I submitted this form, and we got 50% off because we fixed it immediately. But that issue there, I actually visibly saw the leak. You didn't. And, I kind of look at that, even though it was faulty pipe and everything, but, I mean, it wasn't your fault. And you didn't even know where the leak was. So I'm looking at the three categories here of the 50, or 1 to 10 days, 50%, 11 to 20, 35. What would 75% off do with that?
172
Is what the final will be of 680.
Would that be more reasonable? I mean, in this case, and then it's just a suggestion to move forward with this. So, any other council have a discussion on it?
I wouldn't be objecting to that due to the holiday being in there, which I don't know. I don't have a picture of the size of the pinhole. Do you have pictures of was it a rupture or was it a pinhole?
It was an inch and a quarter long.
Slit?
Yes.
So quite a bit of water's coming out pretty quick. So that'd be the only reason I could probably go over the policy of 50% is due to the holiday delay of getting to the meter. And I definitely feel your pain on this, I do. So it's just my thoughts.
This thing is, it didn't happen at 4,25,000. It would have been huge. The city didn't make the water, we didn't have the expense. Our cost basis now on the consumption charge is pretty close to what it cost us to make that water. So, I mean, if we're giving forgiveness, we already give 50% forgiveness. If we're giving more, it's a hit to small hit to the budget. I mean, we're spreading it to everybody else, which...
What is that? What is that number?
What's that?
The cost, what is it? The cost to produce, what is it now?
It's quite close to that neck of the woods, that $1.80.
$1.80, that's what I was thinking, $1.70.
$1.80 per thousand.
$1.80 per thousand, I think that's what we charge. This is a difficult one, because, you know, it's nobody's fault, but it's kind of like it's part of life, you know? It's like having a car wreck, and you got $500 deductible, well, you know, you had a car wreck, and you need some $500, but, I'm concerned we're messing with the ordinance myself.
Well, no, I don't think you can, on the back of your ordinance, see the customer wishes to look at the decision by us as staff. They must do so here before the city council for the final decision. So that right there gives you guys
So we have
an
discretion
appeal
to
process
change the
separate from your policy.
Okay.
The policy can still stand and you can choose something else based on the factors.
I mean, I can see your point with something that's outside of normal control. We have a holiday in there that extended by a day, him finding it, you know, that, you know, kind of isn't as fair as somebody else that had their normal day. And one day less a week, and I don't know if it, you know, it probably would push down a lot of gallons there in a short time, but who knows? I don't, whether the crew was seeing how fast it was spinning at the time to turn it off.
No, they just want it off.
They just turned it off. Quick.
So at $1.75, what is the cost to deliver to that? At $1.75, 1,000 gallons, that isn't the cost to deliver to his residence, that's just the cost to make it at the plant?
Well, there's some delivery cost in there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Just to produce it and distribute it.
So
A percentage of that cost.
if it's 300,000 gallons or $1.75, anybody got a calculator that can come up with that
Well,
number of what it costs?
$600 and something dollars.
Okay.
Because only 2,000 of it would have been the normal.
Well, it's kind of hard to quantify when it occurred.
Yeah.
You know, we have no idea, you have no idea, you know. The idea that the water didn't show, that has surprised me, not in this country. You know, there's places where it will, you know, it just does. That's why we suck up all the water that it rains, it goes into the ground. That's, otherwise we flood all the time. But, if you went 75%, what's the
It
fund?
takes 516 off the bill, and the bill remains 172.45.
Costs us $525 to produce the water. The 300,000 gallons. Divide by 50%.
At the 180? Or you're going with this weird 175 on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the matter that we had. He's on the line.
About 180 now, right?
Sounds like you've already calculated it though for 75%. If you took 75% off the cost of our cost to deliver that water, you'd end up with $131.25. That's taking our cost for 300,000.
Were you using Bruce's $1.75?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's $1.80.
So probably about $135 or something like that if you took 75% off our cost.
172.45.
172.45.
Is that plus all those?
No, that's just
Just
the
water.
water.
Oh,
That's just the consumption.
It's paid by the
Yes.
tenant in the monthly bill anyways.
Pardon me?
Yeah, the tenant pays the bill.
He paid, is he gonna pay the
No, I'm paying the legal.
Oh, okay.
He pays the monthly bill.
Okay, so he's gonna pay whatever the 2 point, whatever it is.
The regular.
I don't want to, that I normally pay.
And you're gonna pick up the 140 something or whatever it is.
Whatever it ends up being,
Yeah.
based on your guys' decision.
Well, I would say this, and I can't repeat it enough. there's obviously an issue there. And I'd be willing to go to that this time, but the next time, if it occurs here, and I think you got a problem, to be honest with you. It could be the roots, it could be whatever it is, you got a problem. And so, I'd be welcome to do that. You're probably going to follow, to me, I'd be willing for you to follow the ordinance next time. If there is a bit of change to that loud, I don't mean to be a hard ass, but
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from.
that's just my opinion. You guys, you four other people here that rarely agree with me.
I'd like to ask the council then for a motion.
I'll make a motion to reduce the bill
The
to,
water usage versus.
yeah, the water usage is 75%.
I'll second that motion.
Second's been made, all those in favor? In a roll call from Stephanie.
Or is there just any other discussion? Any discussions?
Oh, yeah, any other discussion? Okay, have a roll call, Stephanie.
Counselor Allen?
Aye.
Mayor Hobart?
Aye?
Counselor McNair?
Aye.
Counselor West?
Aye.
Counselor Rogers? Motion carried.
Yes, I'm gonna have to do it on the computer, once I see where your numbers and I'll just call you. Tomorrow. Okay. Yes, okay.
Go forth and sin no more.
See you later, Nick.
Okay, consent agenda for acceptance, none. Number 9, consent agenda for approval, city council meeting minutes for May 5th, 2020. City council meeting minutes for May 18th, 2020.
Give me a minute just to review this.
Yep.
I read it the other night,
Did anybody get the typos for you?
No, but you can give those to me later.
Okay.
I had something in here I wanted to bring up, so let me find it also.
So, you need to read through here first, Bruce? I mean, can you do both?
Councilor Webb.
On the May 18th, be page 7 of our packet. It's where it says Councilor Webb suggests getting an official hat or vest for the Parkos. Seems like we're kind of missing something there, because then it has Councilor McNair reminded the group the Parkos should take care of their concerns with their supervisor. Those were kind of two separate issues, if I remember the conversations right, because there seemed, after I suggested about the park host having a vest or a hat or something, seemed like there was quite a consensus with council that that was a good idea, and Josette kind of seconded that, yeah, we should do that. And then I think there was kind of a separation, and this reads like Councilor McNair was kind of objecting to my suggestion for a hat or vest for the host.
So would you like me to make it 2 different paragraphs?
Yeah, something different there. And maybe, I mean, with my take, there was consensus by the rest of the council that that was a pretty good idea, so maybe that should be added in there, and staff agreed.
With the group concur. Maybe you didn't hear consensus.
I heard lots of different suggestions of what would be the best option for
Yeah.
delineating the host of the host. So I just summarized it into one sentence as what was agreed upon.
So does that help you if we make a point to make that when we do have consensus, that we make it apparent to everyone? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so what I'm doing here is trying to get rid of all of that wishy-washy back and forth, different suggestions, and just put in what was actually decided on.
Right, yeah, I see.
And since he was the one who proposed what was decided on, that's what was put in there. So I can put consensus of the group is to get an official how to rest for the park host.
Or just the group can,
The group agreed to,
yeah, the group agreed, or the council agreed.
Council and staff,
Right.
whatever.
Yeah,
I mean,
we
you-
had talked about doing lanyards or something,
Yeah.
that they could wear in all seasons or something.
Okay.
Yeah, my
All of it that way.
suggestion was totally separate from that. It was just a reminder to myself and the rest of the council. Well, let's
Okay.
I also want to go to that third sentence in the same paragraph, and I'd like everybody to read that, starting with, "He noted the city administrator has a job to do."
Yeah.
I don't think that's a fair, maybe description of what was said, and I don't think it was an accurate description of actually what happened. Our mayor was trying to help out a citizen that called in under duress, basically. So I don't feel that it's fair, and I want to get your guys' opinion after you read that right there.
That's what was said. Would you like me to not put in what was said?
Yeah, I think.
You're taking a point.
I see your point, Counselor, but we're talking about the minutes here, right, correctly?
I know what you're saying.
That's a
That was-
discussion.
I don't remember it being said like that.
Yeah, that's a discussion we can have. I certainly welcome to it.
What I'm saying is I don't remember that being said, and whoever said it, I want them to read that and say that that's exactly what was said.
That's exactly right. That's what I said.
Okay.
You know, and again, like I stated, it was a reminder to myself and to the group that there was a, proper way to do these sort of things. Whether we agree with it or not, that's a different subject altogether. I just, and I say that because basically it was a hard lesson I had to learn. I probably am guilty of it worse than anybody here. So, anyhow.
Susan?
Yeah, as it related to that, we actually did have a conversation at that time, talking about, we will talk about it later in the meeting, and that never occurred. There was discussion that we were going to talk about it. And it's my hope that, I don't think it's on tonight's agenda, but it needs to be on another night's agenda.
Separate and aside from this, well, that's something probably it sounds like we need to take up.
Yeah, I have a hard time hearing this echo room, but
Yeah.
I just didn't recall it being said like that. I just want to clarify. If you're the one that made the comment, and you were happy with it, then I'm happy with whatever way it's written.
All I was stating was that in terms of the record, the written record, I think it was accurate from the standpoint of what I said, but the way that it was put forth in terms of how Council Webb, that it was kind of ran together to the point where it didn't so much the point is of either one of the statements is lost a little bit. And that's what we're talking about right now. And so,
Well, the real issue was the park host couldn't get a hold of anyone at that particular time dealing with a unhappy fisherman from Clackamas.
May I ask that we not...
I'm talking
right now. This is not this isn't part of approving these minutes.
And I just want to clarify, so,
It isn't part of these.
and so I got a call from the park host, said she couldn't get a hold of the city administrator, she couldn't get a hold of the chief of police, and if I would help her with this situation. So I talked to the fisherman from Clackamas and calmed the situation down, and that was what and then about an hour and a half later, I went down to the lake, and she thanked me for helping her with that situation. That was my comment in that meeting on May 18th. And so, and that's all of us, so.
So what would be the appropriate time to take this up in this meeting, under the items from the mayor, council, or the city administrator? Would that be the moment to have this discussion?
It depends on what you're trying to do. Are you trying to edit the minutes or have another discussion?
Well, right now, we're trying to do the minutes.
Okay, so
I think they have valid points.
this section is if you don't believe that these minutes are an accurate record of what happened. And then if you want to talk about, I'll just give you my question to Susan. If you want to talk about adding something to a future agenda, you can either state it now, or in an ideal situation, you would edit the minutes, or we would disagree and I would come back and tell you what was said. And then we would approve them then, and then later on, you would say, I would like to bring up an item that was discussed in the previous meeting, and I would like it to be added to a future agenda or a work session.
Would that work?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
I mean, I think you guys got a valid concern. I want it to be heard.
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody else agrees, but
Roll work session.
Counselor?
This is not the time to have.
No, I agree.
I'd like to move forward with getting the minutes approved.
Okay. Any other discussion on the May 5th and May 18th meeting minutes? Is there a motion to accept these minutes with the one or two changes?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda for approval for May 5th and May 18th with the before mentioned changes and the spelling corrections that will be coming later.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second's been made. Take the roll call, please, Stephanie.
Counselor McNair?
Aye.
Counselor Webb?
Aye.
Counselor Allen? Counselor Wagner? Aye. Mayor Hobart?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Comment? Mayor?
Yes.
This must be the byproduct of us not meeting together. For a month and a half.
It's been a while.
I apologize.
Okay, unfinished business. Grandstand update. Page 8. Just an update. Pretty simple.
May I ask the city administrator a question? So, does this fit into the agreement we had?
Yeah, so they have, the agreement states that they have 18 months to get going, and within 24 months of that, they have to hold their first event.
Have you spoken with, is it Linda that's the,
I did not speak to them.
oh, okay.
I asked them for summary.
Who is the spokesperson?
Well, they don't have, Linda's the secretary of their board underneath Intercultural Society, but it's Stacy, Linda, JR, Rick, and I don't know, Patrick? Is that his name? Yeah. Are the members that are on that board under the ARGA Intercultural Society, which is Nicole Lark and the other group.
So under the agreement that we had with them concerning the grandstand committee, concerning if they fail to meet the completed goal, in the timeline. Was there, we talked about that so much, and I apologize, my memory's failing. Was there going to be a collaboration on the cost of the dismantling, or is it fully?
We're splitting it 50/50. But they diligently fought for the timing to raise the funds and access the engineering plans, and that's still falling within this timeline. If they start construction in June, that's still within the timeline. We talked about to give them enough time to do that ahead of being required to have it fixed in an event.
Well, it's not an easy job. I hope they're far enough along that if they do not, are not able to meet the deadline, then maybe they might be far enough along and it looks good that maybe we can not have to go to that other level. So what was the fundraising goal?
I'm not sure.
What's the what?
How much was the goal, the fundraising goal?
I'm not supposed to speak it.
Speaking.
I guess it's going to go unanswered, so that's all right.
Why?
That was a council decision a long time ago.
Well, just so that he didn't end up, well, yeah, it doesn't have to be answered.
So they should have a spokesperson, I
I
guess.
don't want to put it in the bite, so.
They need to have a spokesperson. If they're not.
Go ahead.
My understanding was that there was a decision made by the attorney that said that as long as you had no physical gain or economic gain from it, that you were able to speak to it and talk about it and engage in it. And my understanding is in the past you have, or no?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they're under 501c3 nonprofit. Board members of that cannot be deemed as having a conflict of interest because it's a nonprofit.
Right, and my recollection is though that you have spoken about it in the past.
We were asked not to, by you.
Yeah, I was concerned about your your standpoint.
Maybe I'm incorrect, but my recollection was that the argument back was it's a 501c3 and we can do so.
So,
I could be incorrect.
so Mayor, can I ask, is it council's consensus that we're not, that we feel comfortable with you guys speaking about it?
I think that should be directed to the person who signed the lease, the Intercultural Society. They're aware of our funding.
Okay. All right, I'm done.
So I guess you should table it and we'll require a spokesperson that will speak to it.
I'll make a motion to table it till the next meeting.
Okay.
Till the next available meeting that they're able to come and talk about it.
I would like
I think they'll be here on the 15th.
Pardon me?
They can get somebody here on the 15th.
Okay?
Yeah. I will say we need a spokesperson.
So your motion will table until the next council meeting on June 15th.
Okay, moving on.
You need a vote.
Second.
You can ask for a second.
Oh, was there a motion made?
Yeah.
To table it?
Yeah.
I'll second it.
All right, second's been made on call for open discussion.
All right. Councilor Allen? You have no ethics violation to vote.
Yeah, sure.
Councilor McNair?
Aye.
Councilor Webb?
All right.
Mayor Holbert?
Aye.
Councilor Weiner?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Mayor, I'd like to state something for the record, that I have the utmost confidence in the mayor and Councilman Allen, that there are no way
Good.
that, okay?
I didn't hear that last part, Bruce.
Just that I have absolute confidence you guys concerning this issue, that you're not in any way
We're doing good.
in the wrong.
Yeah. Okay, new business, staff report, 2020 election.
This is from me. It's just letting you guys know that this is an election year, and there's 3 positions open, the mayor and 2 council members. Those members, all their spaces or positions are up, are Councilor Wagner and Councilor McNair. And election packets are available.
And Mayor
I did. Mayor Hobart.
Did you have a green packets tonight? I'll swing by.
I was lucky to get everything that I needed here today, so that one. But I'm available to distribute packets as needed. They are quite a bit girthier this year, so hopefully you guys have plenty of
Plenty of what?
information.
Oh, certainly.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Yep.
B, event permit application, open air market, to be found on page 10.
Looks like it started already down there.
Okay, so staff received this special event permit in March?
Right before the shutdown.
Yeah, so it was right before the shutdown, and due to the COVID-19 restrictions and the different format that we were having council meetings, it didn't come before you. Therefore, it is coming to today for formal approval or denial if you so choose. Staff did notify the group that they could hold their first open air market last Saturday.
And basically, most of the other open air markets are only allowing people under phase 1 to sell essential products. So that had to be fruits, veg, food to eat, could not be knick-knacky type things at that point, because they weren't deemed essential. So that they did hold their first one with just essential products. I'm waiting for you guys to approve the use overall.
I see the email comes from Brett Cosley. Is he the leader of this group? Wasn't he the one to come before council last year? And the same person that said he was going to paint the white stripe around for safety?
I guess.
I remember that.
The city was going to provide the paint and they were going to do it. They never did do it. Just reminding everybody that job never got completed. And I don't think we should allow them to continue until that gets completed. I think it was a safety issue that come up. And I don't know if it was our part for not providing the paint or, so I don't know where the failure happened there, but something happened.
I thought they were gonna take care of it and weed it. There's weeds this high against the fence. It looks terrible down there. I don't know if that was part of the deal when we okayed it last year.
So would you recommend that we put some stipulations on it this year prior to that they follow certain things? I mean, I have no problem with that, I'm just asking. Because evidently it don't get done if you don't.
Council?
The only thing I personally would like to see them responsible for is what we agreed to do last year, which was to strike that edge of the concrete. Would you like me to speak louder?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Take the muzzle off.
No, I will not, and thank you very much.
Well, speak louder than Councilman, because
Is there something funny?
I'm having trouble hearing you.
Is there something funny about the fact that I'm wearing a mask?
No.
No, you can wear it all you want.
I do not appreciate being called out about that, or laughed at. It is not appropriate in this venue, or anything. What I was saying is I would like Mr. Costley to honor what he said he would do last year, which is to strike the edge so people are less likely to trip and fall. Other than that, I think we approve it.
There seems to be a general consensus from the council to have that done. Maybe cleaned up a little bit.
I would agree with that.
I think we should probably do the
Do
meeting.
you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because,
Oh,
I think we'll do the meeting.
okay.
Are they planning on having one next Saturday, Joe said?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be against giving them a couple of weeks to get it done. Might be a little short notice to say you gotta get it done by Saturday, so.
And the wet, and make sure the weather is good so it sticks. Okay.
My recollection of the discussion was is that at one time we had decided to use that area as a food carts, and we were trying to work towards improving the lot itself. So I think some of that painting that you spoke about was probably went towards that. Whether or not we decided to do that, Councilor Wagner, I couldn't speak to. You might be correct. The other might be all that was required at the time. But all I'm remembering that the direction of the conversation that we had, and it might be more personal than the council, because I personally like to see some kind of effort put forth by that group. They don't pay anything,
Right.
you know, so they don't make a lot of money, I guess that's the explanation. So I just thought that might be an in-kind
Yeah.
way of contributing to the deal. So if we wanted to ask that they do some, maybe a little bit more than they did last time.
I know they talked about sweeping it off and painting, but I think, I'm not a little fuzzy on this. Was there any bolt sticking up that the city was gonna cut off? I can't remember.
There's a weird edge on one of the edge, but that's why we were gonna paint it. Because originally, when it was food cardboard, we were gonna plane the whole
Right,
thing.
we were gonna grind.
But then there wasn't any food cardboard usage, so we did the rest of the planer, and so we can just give them some
So should we
traffic. No, I would just give them some traffic paint, we'll weed it, and they can sweep it off and paint the edges. They'll be fine, Brett will be fine with that.
Okay,
We can get volunteers to pull it off.
so the motion would be to the effect that we ask for certain conditions we met.
Yeah, I would just approve it with the condition when weather permits, sooner rather than later, they paint the edge.
I'll make that motion.
Weren't we gonna paint it white? I can't remember that color.
Yeah, we have white or yellow traffic paint, so yellow's usually a little more visible, but
Okay, a motion's been made to approve the application under the circumstances that they paint the white stripe and clean it up. So, is there a second? Second's been made by Councilor Wagner. Take the roll, please, Stephanie.
Okay. Councilor Allen?
Aye.
Mayor Moore?
Aye.
Councilor Garrett?
Aye.
Councilor Webb?
Aye.
Councilor Wagner?
I,
Motion carried.
Okay. Moving on to C, discussion about opening up the docks at the lake. How's it going down there, Dale?
Is it?
Yeah.
You get quite a bit of traffic down there. Very bad. I heard on the weekend, though, it's been pretty busy, so. Additional fishing spots might not be a bad idea. I know right after our meeting, the CDC came out with guidance that suggested that catching the virus from hard surfaces wasn't near what they thought it was, so that would have been nice information to have at the time. Oregon seems to be doing really well. I would think, when do we go phase 2?
well, we have not formally applied. They have to apply to go into phase 2. They can do it 14 days after phase 1, as long as they meet the criteria. But currently, Columbia County has not applied to be open for phase 2.
Why would that not be? 'Cause why is that? Even-
Well, they have to meet certain things. They have to assure that all the police and first responders have appropriate PPE, and the hospital thing kind of died down because we don't have one. So they weren't gonna hold us to Washington County and Multnomah County, but it's PPE, the contact tracing, verification, all of that. So once the county feels they can meet that, then they'll apply.
Mayor, I had this conversation with a few of the councilmen, and listening to the past conversations we had in telephone meetings, and I spoke with the city administrator about this. One of the issues I think Councilor Webb brought up, and it might have been Councilor Wagner, about the ADA access as an issue. That was one of the reasons why those docks were installed. I think maybe it was you too, Councilor Allen. And in a sense, by closing them, we almost are not non-compliance or anything like that. But the other issue was, and I think this was Councilor Wagner brought up, that by restricting the docks, and I may be wrong about this, attributing this to you, Susan, but that we actually, in a sense, kind of hand people into the smaller areas and we're actually defeating the purpose of
That was me.
Yeah. And so, with those three things in mind, speaking to the city administrator, she's spoke about how we could limit the amount of people on the dock.
Post however many is
Yeah.
social distancing.
Yeah.
You know, so when the 4 guys or whatever you figure out the arcs are, get on there, then the 5th guy knows not to come out because the rest of them are gonna be like, hey, it's the 4 guys or.
I will comment and say that I sure was impressed by the job the Public Works did towards holding on the docks where they were going. It looked good to me, but my feeling is that we ought to come back up.
Counselor?
So to address your ADA issue, we have accessibility simply by the fact that there's the flat area at the top by the restrooms. It is not necessarily everybody being able to use the same spots, but they do have accessibility. I'd like to comment on what's been said about how good Columbia County is doing. And one of the reasons Columbia County is doing so well, in my opinion, and only my opinion, is that a lot of people are actually paying attention to social distancing and staying home. There's a lot of people in this community who, excuse me, are able to work from home because they have employers who allow them to do so, or have directed them to do so. So they aren't going out a lot. I am still concerned, and until I think we get some direct guidance from our health authorities that say that type of area is definitely not a transfer point. And we've got a lot of families, kids, elderly, ADA persons who might want to use that area. And if that is who is using that area, that is combining all of the people that you don't necessarily want to combine at the same time. That is my opinion. And I think that honestly, how many people can we put on the dock? Comfortably.
I think it's 4.
No, I mean not in all day. All day.
They would put 10 on there, 12 on there.
So we're talking about maybe 20 people who now can't fish, potentially, but could find another area. They could go down the river, they could go somewhere else on the banks. I think if we're making a decision based on caution, I would say let's continue to be risk averse. And if honestly 20 people is what is making or breaking our community and our fishing area, I'm sorry about that. But they have alternatives. They can go elsewhere around the lake.
Mayor, I might speak to she makes a very good council, I makes a very good point. To me, initially, the close, again, I go back to the reason we closed. In my mind, we closed the fishing was not so much that we were worried that people were going to contract the virus down there at the lake. It was mostly to limit people coming into the community that might cause us to become a hotspot or something, whatever you want to call it. And or extending our services in terms of so to go back to the issue of the docks, the reason the docks are there was to give ADA access. I realize that one's been brought up out there by the unloading area where the trains unloaded, that access, and it achieves that goal, you know. But again, the reason the docks were installed was to allow folks that were less able to fish from the banks in certain spots that they would be able to use it. So, again, not to be argumentative with you, I just offer that as my opinion.
So do you propose that there's preferential treatment to people that actually have disabilities using the docks?
There is anybody, isn't there?
Actually, I think that was the discussion ODFW had and those docks went in. I don't know if we ever did anything, but
Right.
it was kind of an unspoken understanding that when somebody comes up that's disabled, that they get preferential treatment on the docks.
The trouble with that is it's not your locals that are filling up the dock and not allowing people that are disabled to go in there. I mean, 90% of the calls, if not 95% of the calls I've received and staff has received have been people from out of town. I'm coming out from Beaverton, I'm coming out from, and they tell you the town they're coming from to go fishing this weekend. So it's not, for the most part, it's not the locals that would say you open the docks that will be using those to their capacity on the weekends.
Right.
Just so you know.
Yeah, but that is the case that these were allowed and built with the intention that it's ADA accessible. Maybe we simply put, I mean, then you can't necessarily say, well, what's your disability?
Right.
But
It's like-
is putting up a sign that says ADA accessible only.
I actually went down there with a tape measure and measured it. And Dale, you probably are quite aware because you put them in 20 years ago. It's 50 feet across. I figured out every 6 feet, including around behind the lakefront railing, I figured about 8 people could safely fish on that dock. Now, if you did open them up, I highly recommend just putting a maximum people, 8 people. Now, all the times I've walked around that mill pond, and it's been not as many times as Dale, but it's been quite a few. I only see about 2 or 3 people on the docks, but if you put a maximum of 8 people at a time, right there at the ramp, I'd say open it back up.
Did the safety issues get taken care of on those docks?
No, because the Parks Committee sees them as a safety issue, and then there's half of the Parks Committee that sees them as the only place you can bend down and wet your hands. It's the return, it's the gap in the return.
The gap.
We had a Parks Committee member that had a little kid with them that went down and went to that return. Could have fallen through, but didn't. And so part of them were like, well, we don't want chains high up because that's where you rinse your hands off. So, no.
Okay, you
It was
said-
never a determination from Parks, yay or nay, it was half and half.
That's not the way I remember. I remember you saying the city was going to repair it, and you had a plan for that, and had some chain across it or
We
something.
did have a plan, but they didn't like the plan because they did not want the high up one that would actually be the guard because then you couldn't bend over it.
Anyway, It doesn't really matter if it's fixed, I mean, at this point, I was thinking if the docks were safe and the repair's been done and we hit level 2, then I would be good with opening it. But if the repairs haven't been done, there's still a question on the safety. I haven't personally had a chance to go look at that. I know it was brought up 8, 9 months ago, whatever it was, 6 months ago. But I thought that repair had been done, so
So, sorry, to clarify, it's not repair, it's alteration. Because nothing was broken, it's like there.
an alteration.
Okay, yeah.
They were designed like that, yeah.
So-
And a lot of the docks don't, when people see that as a danger point, a lot of docks don't even have the railing. So,
Ours didn't have railings at the beginning.
yeah, so that's the back and forth about that gap.
I
If
guess-
council wants to
I guess it
change on
wasn't-
it, then we just go put
I
change
guess
on
it
it.
wasn't communicated that that had stopped, I guess, to me anyway, so. But anyway, if it's deemed safe, I'm still good with waiting until level 2 at least. Like someone said, the river's open, you can go fish anywhere in the river, so.
So we were talking about opening up camping. Are we waiting for level 2 for that?
No, so local jurisdictions under phase 1 were allowed to determine whether or not they wanted camping to be open. So we are following along with Stubb Stewart. They are not yet at their camping phase, but that's a full state parks issue. They already opened for day use, so we're proposing that we double checked our orders are coming in for all the supplies, and we're planning on allowing camping in the campgrounds
What day?
tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Yeah. So, you know, if we're good sitting on a picnic table, I think we're good fishing on a dock.
I'm not making a motion. Unless it,
Go ahead, Rich.
I don't want to cut in on anybody, but I'll make a motion to open the docks back up to fishing with a 4-person limit on it and proper signage.
Do you want me to do our measurement and figure out if it's 4 or 8?
Whatever you deem.
Okay.
Have a staff with deemed acceptable.
We'll just do it ARC so that we can validate it if anyone questions us on our 6
It's not 8, but it's 4, so.
We'll double check.
Okay.
The number, till you put a maximum.
Do you want 4, 8, or as deemed by staff?
I put forth a motion of 4.
Okay, making
And
sure.
that's how to do the proper work. If it comes back and says that we can't do that, then we'll have to change and do something.
What if it says it can be more than that?
And I guess we'll come back and determine that we can expand that next council meeting. Probably wouldn't be that much of a deal, but
So you want to start with 4-person maximum?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that 4 separate people or families and what?
4 people.
4 max?
Yeah.
Is that taking into consideration maybe it?
I didn't hear what you said, Susan.
Asking Mr. McNair if that includes or if he's adding anything related to ADA, since the purpose apparently was ADA. Opportunities for persons with ADA disabilities to have access to fishing. Or is it just open fishing?
Opinions.
Pending.
Opinions. Do you think it's necessary to have that? Does anybody think that it's necessary to have that into it?
I think we should have a sign there that is educational to people that are on the dock. If somebody shows up, that they should give way to somebody who's in a wheelchair. I mean, I don't know how else you do it.
Yeah, I think it'd be appropriate to have a sign that said, please follow, certain levels of,
I can bring back to your next council meeting what's out there
Correct.
for ADA preferential or whatever other places do, and then we can just order signs and check the dock number at the same time next meeting. If that's good for you guys.
So does that change the,
No, just keep it.
So I'd like to propose an amendment to the motion
Okay,
to have staff determine the proper amount of people on the dock
so you want to change it from Florida to that part?
to whatever staff determines.
Underlines that.
Well, it's a process. We can vote on your motion and we vote on the other one.
Well, the motion hasn't been seconded yet, so
Okay.
I can restate the motion there and make a motion that we reopen the docks and we'll allow staff to determine the proper, what was it that you were going to say?
Social distancing.
Social distancing
number.
number requirements.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second from Nate. Okay, Stephanie?
Counselor Webb?
All right.
Counselor McNair?
Aye.
Counselor Allen?
Nay.
Counselor Wagner?
No.
Mayor Hobart?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Excuse me, Mayor, can I just confirm, JR, how much you vote?
No,
No, okay, thank you.
Okay, business from the departments. Chief Connor.
I just wanted to give you guys a report for, just kind of catch up for the last 3 months, so I didn't overwhelm anybody, I put them all in one report. So for February, March, and April, the police department responded to 495 calls. Today, we're at 2,255 fiscal year. Code enforcement, we're currently at 61 code violations. She's ready to send out flyers for grass cutting, and just kind of a reminder. We have had over the last 3 months, we've been a little bit busier. We do have a few higher profile cases that I can't discuss right now, but I will in the future. Other than that, that's kind of where we're at.
Are you fully staffed now?
We're half a day short.
So you're 4.5? How do you come about that?
Part-time.
Yeah, I got the one part.
Part-time? Oh.
He hasn't completely decided to go full-time yet. Probably was his plan to, so that's probably going to end up being open this week.
I got a question for you.
Go ahead, Darrell.
Chief Carter, didn't I read in here with some stolen vehicles recovered?
Yeah, we actually had one that was stolen from here and recovered in Tillamook, over on the coast. And then we had a couple that were recovered in the area.
From out of town?
Yeah, we actually had two that they were brought in, they've been there for months. They ended up getting abandoned in somebody's yard, and they had been there for a while. And we suspected it was his kids that brought the vehicles in, and then they left and abandoned them, and then we ended up, during the code enforcement stuff, went down there and ran police and found a stolen trailer and stolen vans. The van had been stolen for quite a while. It was stolen from a veteran, so he wanted it back, so he got it.
Are there any charges on
We don't know exactly who did it at this point.
possession of stolen goods?
Yeah, he said that they were just abandoned there, so we don't have any proof that he knew what it was. We're fairly certain it was his kids, but proving it and getting the district attorney to prosecute it, it's slim enough.
And I've seen underlined, the one line here says drugs and prostitution, one.
I gotta be drugs, not prostitution.
Okay, just clarifying.
Yeah, they is a category, I don't know why they're put in the same category. Weird, hang around in there, you would think they would be separate. But definitely drugs, we've actually had 3 other drug cases in the last month.
And under agency assist, you got 21, that's quite a few, isn't it?
There's a couple.
Chief, I noticed your suicide attempts are pretty high. Is that due to is that unusually high?
It is.
Yeah.
Over the course of 3 months, we divide that up, Yeah, I mean, everybody's starting to home, people are struggling, they're having a hard time, unemployment checks haven't come in. There's a lot of people out there.
It's not an easy situation, that's for sure.
So we have several mental health calls that we've had to deal with.
You refer those to the county a lot?
Columbia County Mental Health is usually involved in most of those cases. A lot of our community and police officer holds were workforce in some of these at the hospital. And then Columbia County Mental Health will pick that up from there.
Go ahead.
Marine Patrol?
Marine Patrol, yeah. That was one of the, I think there's only one there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we get calls that, I don't want to dig into this too deeply, but when we get calls from the lake through our dispatch, that's how they're going to be reported, is a marine call. There was one in 3 months. So and I'll dig into that more when we talk about that issue.
I just wanted to thank you guys for putting out the speedometer thing there. It keeps me under control coming in town.
Good.
Appreciate that.
It's going to be the other end of the highway here in a couple of days.
So don't give it away.
Thank you, Chief. Any other questions? Okay, ordinances, resolutions. 2020-05, a resolution providing for adoption of the new and revised council rules.
Okay, this is brought to you guys by me. As you guys are aware, for the last several months before COVID, we had several work sessions discussing amendments to the city council rules and procedures. I'm bringing this to you guys in order to adopt items that you all agreed to change. I know that we were midway through some of it, but in an effort not to lose momentum, I would like to have you guys approve those changes now. And that's what's before you.
So we weren't quite done, right?
No, you guys were about halfway through, but in order to adopt what you guys agreed on, just get it done now, and we can pick it up again at a later date if you so choose. Thank you. Smelling them in.
I compared these rules to March of 2011, and they're pretty much all the same. I did look for the changes, and the first one I found was in section 25, and it's going from the voice vote to the roll call procedure with all our motions. Were there any changes prior to section 25?
Yes, but I don't have those before me.
Oh, okay.
These are the changes as you guys requested.
Okay.
Can you give me a summary, because I wasn't at the first meeting, and maybe I don't remember what it was.
She hasn't asked me before the meeting. Okay, so I'm gonna take a shot at it. There was some in additions or corrections.
May I suggest that if there's questions, that we just bring this back at a later date?
Sure.
At the next meeting, maybe?
Yeah.
Sure.
And if that's the case, then
I wasn't trying to.
That's okay.
kind of changed my opinion quite a bit about the city evaluation procedure for the city administration. After reading the League of Oregon Cities recommendations toward that, I find that whole process to be counterproductive, and I'd like to find a better way to deal with that. Somehow that we can, the way we've set it up just does not seem to me to be a very productive process for either the council or the city administrator. So whether you guys want to dig into that, that'll be up to the majority.
So
I just put that,
are you asking for another workshop on this, Counselor?
I guess somewhere along that line possibly. We haven't finished.
No, yeah, I don't think we have either.
No, so part of the reason Stephanie brought it to you is you're doing the roll call now,
Yeah.
but it's not actually in your rules to do it. The 10-day ahead was one of the things you wanted,
Yeah.
Oh, for the
so there's some
agenda?
weird little things that you all agreed on, and she was trying to get that adopted and moving on so that when you get further into it, where there was less agreement, you could have another meeting that didn't go all the way back to Adam and start there. So we can bring you the track change one
I
time.
can send you guys the track changes. It is worth noting that the city administrator evaluation process starts in July. So unless you guys get cracking on deciding what your process is going to be, then you're either going to be late for her evaluation or you're going to be shooting in the dark.
Yeah. Well, again, mine speak now or whatever, hold your peace. Like I stated at the beginning with my opinion, has changed dramatically towards that whole process. After sitting through, I don't know how many of these, I just feel like there's a better way of doing it, possibly. But I don't want to throw the whole process off either. My goal is not to derail everything that we've done here, so.
So do you guys want this to come back to you for the second meeting with track changes? So you can see it ahead of it, with at least what's done so far?
That'd be fine.
You want to table this?
Sounds like you want to go through this a little more before we actually,
We ain't gonna do it, it's just me. I mean, I just put my 2 cents out there, the rest of you decided it's not worthy of that, then
I think this year, unfortunately, it's probably a good idea to try to revamp that. I think this year we're probably too close to do that as far as changing the evaluation
I
process.
can understand that.
Well, is it actually part of your rules?
Yeah. They wanted something formally adopted.
But it wasn't before?
No.
So this separate section, they could really not adopt?
Yeah, they could take it out completely if they wanted and then just roll whatever you decide to do in the meeting in July.
But the only reason I suggested postponing the meeting is JR wanted to see what had been changed. And that was my impetus for suggesting that we put it off. Not to do any major changes, simply to give people an opportunity. You said you didn't see any changes, JR has never seen the changes.
Well, I saw a few, but it would have been helpful if they were in red so I could see what we did change. I had to go through both resolutions to find out where the changes were.
So the reason why it's not in there is because this is not the rules as amended. These are your new rules. It's not amending the past resolution, it's a new resolution. Like I said, if y'all remembered the little changes that you made.
You know, we did change some wording in number 2 and additions or corrections to the agenda too, so.
We added some language from, I think, as part of the bank's ordering for the evaluations and stuff. I remember some of that conversation too.
Okay, so do you want me to bring you back a version to adopt or not?
I think there seems to be a general consensus where you could bring this back at the June 18th meeting to look at it again.
I didn't really feel that though, because there was some saying, I'm not talking about the roll call and those things. I think we all agree that that needs to be in there. You guys all agreed on that.
Yep.
But now there's feeling amongst some of council that they don't want to have the city administrator evaluation process included.
I think everyone was spoken in favor of that so far.
Are you all in disagreement? You would like it included or no?
I would like it not included, but
Dale?
speaking one,
Now, my concern is timing now.
yeah.
I mean, and how late, I mean, I've understood that the evaluation process sometimes has occurred later than normal, but I don't.
Can I ask a question? It's not adopted anymore what their process is.
Right.
They should just not
So don't include it and do whatever the heck,
We could still do the process.
or you can change the process midstream. It doesn't have, it's not, it doesn't say anywhere what you have to do right now, right? So decide, you can decide what it is at your next meeting, who knows?
Well, I am up for re-election if I choose to run, so, you know, I don't mean this, I know this is 11th hour, you know, I just, there needs to be a process where either changes can be made with the individual, or they can be, especially they can be compensated properly. That's some of the reason why we do the evaluation, is to set forth that compensation level. I don't want to screw that up. You know, that's not my intent. My intent is just that it just seems
Well, so just so you guys have a heads up, the chief and I are changing how we even evaluate our staff. Because the once a year ultimately becomes very critical and punitive to your staff. It isn't an every 3 months check-in where they can fix the behaviors you're seeing. It's like you save up all the bad, and we're finding this even in our own reviews of our own staff. You're saving up all these problems till the one time a year where you sit across from them. When really you should be doing check-ins every 3 months, saying, this isn't working for me, we need to address this, right? And then you have a more productive staff, and then at the end of the year, you take all of those check-ins and do their final evaluation. It also takes the weird kind of dun-dun-dun feeling out of it. I mean, staff that only sees you in that capacity once a year, we're finding, comes in, they're like, you know, they're freaking out because you've held all this stuff back and not explained what changes you needed made throughout the year. So that's what League of Oregon Cities is proposing. Kind of overall, it's going to be more beneficial to the employee and the employer to do more regular, not as kind of huge thunderdome of evaluations.
Yeah.
So we're doing it within our own thing as well.
So I know, Karen, you were involved with a lot of the process, but there was a lot of thought and a lot of intent done to come up with the kind of tweaking changes we made. I mean, there were things that we were observing, we were doing, just wanted to memorialize them. I personally, the reason I suggested that potentially we put it off a meeting was an opportunity to bring back a comparison of what we had done. That staff time, which I'm not sure is,
Stuff, do you have a track change copy?
sure. Okay, so it's not going to be a big deal. But, you know, we worked hard on it, and I think we were pretty intentional about the changes that were made. And they were good, and they were a lot of finessing what we were already doing and just making sure that it's in policy. So I am not suggesting we put it off, except for the fact that some might want to see those changes. I personally don't. I don't feel the need to. I'm ready to move forward with it. Sam's the evaluation component. So it sounds like we're reevaluating that.
What was the last part you said there?
Except for,
Ellis.
sorry, I said Sam's.
Yeah, no, that's what I was catching out.
Excluding.
The big word.
Yeah, I remember we wanted to put it in writing as far as evaluation because some technical mistakes might have been, happened due to new members, old members, you only do it once a year, there's no format to follow. So we decided we wanted to put it in writing for future councils to come in and go, this is how we do this. And we follow these steps. And I didn't necessarily know it was going to be placed in council rules. I was a little bit surprised to see it, or maybe I don't remember saying it's going to be part of council rules. It could be a separate check sheet is all for an incoming mayor or anybody who's going to run the meetings. Here's the check sheet, this is how we do this. And that can be changed to every 6 months or every 3 months, whatever you want to do. But we want to put something in writing to where we try to do it, at least a format for new people to follow, so they're not just How do we do this when they come on to council? That's the way I remember that part of it.
Oh, that's council rules.
And as far as the council rules, I could move forward with it tonight. I just don't remember some of the first meeting stuff. I think I can remember you guys decided without me, which was fine, I wasn't there, I was absent due to hunting. I think I remember it saying we were going to roll call on every ordinance. Then somehow it morphed into, we're going to roll call on every vote. So that's the only thing I remember coming out of basically the first meeting, if I remember it right.
Dale?
So I think our city recorder could probably clarify, so she uses resolutions, so, and when we adopt something through a resolution, it's, she can keep track of it, the latest and greatest. I mean, like you said, we could be making all these changes and it could just be something that's off to the side, or that could get confusing. I think she uses a process, so that's probably why it's in this resolution, and I think that probably was the process that we need to follow. And right now, it's just guidance to us on the process. You're exactly right, that's why we wanted to do it, to have something, because just new people were lost, and we had two of the incumbents here. But yeah, it's easy to forget, it's only once a year, so I can see why that's in there. I also agree with Councilor McNair after reading the League of Oregon Cities article on administrators' evaluations. That article made a lot of sense to me too. And it's something we probably should have a workshop on, but whether we can, if we can, I don't know if we can pull that off before we probably just need to probably do another formal evaluation and then have a workshop and see if we want to change the process.
I would be all for, I think it would be beneficial if you had it more often, and like Joseph was saying with her staff, you don't have to let things fester because of, oh, I can't say nothing because this is an evaluation time. And then that can go both ways as far as,
We might have to pull that article back up because it had a totally different mindset of how even,
Yeah, it's quite,
It went a little extreme on where they even necessary.
yeah, radical departure.
Right, we're going more like, yes, there should be moments in time when you can discuss issues and correct kind of direction and do that. And we thought that, at least that's where we're going.
well, I don't think it's warranted right now on the spot.
Well, again, it's a resolution, so we can change it without a whole lot of pain and suffering, right? Parts of it.
I'm sorry?
We can change parts of this resolution without, it's not like an ordinance.
Correct.
We're gonna have to go through a painful process.
Yep.
So, with the expediency and the time essence of the evaluation coming up, it's important to the city administrator, you know, in terms of her compensation, and I wouldn't want to cause an issue in that. But maybe somewhere, God willing, we all get back to normalcy, somewhere normal, that we're able to meet. I know it seems to be we're going to have to work a little harder on it. But we could talk about section 34 and maybe and with Councilor Webb's suggestions, bring that article back up and everybody maybe take a peruse of it and read it. You might get a better understanding where I'm coming from. I'm not very good at explaining stuff. So it just, like I said, my experience is setting through these evaluations, and I don't know, this is like 7th or 8th time. I don't know of a couple of them for me that were halfway enjoyable.
Beneficial.
And a lot of it was me rather than, you know, but I think we can change the format to where it would be more beneficial to everybody involved.
Okay, what do you want to do with resolution 2020-05 then?
I suspect that you probably would go ahead and adopt it, wouldn't you? Do you need to see more?
Is there a motion to adopt?
You have to, I'm fine with it, yeah. I'll make that motion.
Okay. What's your motion, Council?
You gotta read it.
Go ahead and read it.
No, here. I make a motion to adopt resolution number 2020-05, a resolution providing for adoption of new and revised council rules. Thanks, Will.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second's been made. Okay, Stephanie?
All right. Counselor Allen?
Aye.
Mayor Ward?
Aye.
Counselor Wagner? Counselor McNair?
Aye.
Counselor Webb? Motion carried.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
for our audience members, you're not hostage to us there. I know the situation sometimes, you hate to get up and leave, but if you don't have to go through this if you don't want to.
That was disrespectful to you, Mayor.
Oh,
Feel free to exit if you want.
Yeah.
You don't have to look for those.
But as I'm sitting here, I have a question about that building. Can I take the time to address that?
sure, go ahead.
During the 8 months that I was renovating and was charged, there was 1 month that there was no charge at all, no usage at all. And the minimum charge like is about $30. So I'm wondering, since there was no usage, what does the $30 pay for?
The base charge, what does it pay for?
They is to supply everything up to your meter, including the meter. So everything goes on, we're all sharing in this system together. And it's just water, so whatever the percentage is, 70, can't even remember now. But of your bill, of the budget, 77% of that goes to that base charge, and we incur costs whether you use any water or not.
Okay, so if I had the water shut off the time instead of leaving it on,
Yeah.
so I only used 710 gallons in 8 months. You know, wash my hands.
Yeah. You could have shut it off.
So we don't get that. So I would not have incurred 30 times 8, $40.
Would have incurred a shut off fee and a turn on fee when you came back on the system.
And with that, it ended up being more or less than 120 a month.
It would have been $70 total to turn it off and turn it back on. Because you're not required to keep water service unless someone's living there, then that's a requirement, right, for application, but.
Note to self, don't turn it off on this time. Okay.
Comedy on the
And on that note,
I know how people get feeling captive, I know I have in the past.
Okay, resolution 2020-06. Resolution of the City Council of the City of Vernonia, Oregon, adopting the fiscal year budget 2020-2021. Electing and receive state revenues, making appropriations, imposing the taxes, and categorizing the taxes for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2020.
I've had an issue on page 11, line 5645-04 IT contract, since we've tentatively adopted this.
What was that line item?
5645-04 IT contract. It's been gnawing on me. The cost of this. just wonder why we're going up 40% in 1 year. And then when I looked at the budget book from last year, the line numbers changed a little bit. It was 5645-04, and it was titled under computer maintenance contract.
Same thing.
Same thing, I understand. The proposed budget was 35,000. Said actual to date in 18-19 was 25,936. We ended up for the year at 31,842 last year for a total. So then when you go back to the line here, it says adopted budget for 2019-20 was 48,000.
Did a supplemental mid-year.
Another 13,000?
We replaced all the workstations.
I can't hear
We
you.
replaced all of our workstations. We went over all this in the budget.
But
If it makes you feel any better, I can let you know right now that I'm exploring another option through the, remind me,
Oregon Council of Governments.
Oregon Council of Governments. They take care of the IT for some other cities. The city of Millersburg uses them. I just got the information right before I went on vacation. So I just got back today, didn't have a chance to contact the city yet. I want to talk to them, and then I'm going to contact the provider. And that city, Millersburg, which I believe is larger than us, their annual budget's about $8,000.
Whoa.
So you can be comfortable in knowing that I am definitely not happy with the amount that we've been paying. I am looking into it, but I can't budget nothing without something already set up. We have to have IT support. We just absolutely have to.
Right.
So right now, that's what it costs. And it's a horrible amount, and I've been fighting with the company that we're currently in contracts with because I don't agree with how they're charging us. He basically told me, too bad. That's how we do it. So that's where it stood a week and a half ago when I left for vacation. We're paying a lot for not a lot of time because we don't require we don't require them to do a lot. We don't have a lot of issues.
Right.
They do the monthly maintenance checks and the system updates and all that sort of stuff. But as far as the daily calling, oh, I have this problem, we just don't have a lot of that.
Not even an hour a day, probably.
No, but we get charged a flat rate every month.
So if you were an hour a day on the phone with them and they charge you $100 an hour, 5 days a week, that would only still come to 25,000. That's why when I
Right, yeah,
hit
no,
48,000, I went, whoa.
Yeah, well, in the computer, yeah, that equipment charge, and that line item also encompasses all of we have software that we have to renew every year for the servers. I mean, there's other things in there. It's not just that company. But yeah, I agree. It's a ridiculously high amount, and I'm trying to find an
I
alternate.
understand, I'm not attacking. It's
No,
just
I know,
not
but,
on me.
yeah, and I get it, and I know that we did discuss a little bit during the budget process, but yeah, that's just something that I just found out about this, like I said, last
I was like,
week.
looking at this and the numbers didn't, so I
Yeah,
asked.
well, because when we do the supplemental, then the supplemental numbers become the new budget for the actual column, but it doesn't reflect in last year's budget. It's still going to show you the old, what we adopted originally.
Maybe it's just my memory, I didn't remember the supplemental was going to go into IT contract.
Yeah.
So for future reference, even if you do get that $8,000, and that, I'm not saying that that's going to be the number I'm ready to. You still, it's not going to be 8,000, it's going to be a certain number above that because of the software.
Yeah, that line item,
But you're
because
going to have a substantial decrease.
I hope so, yeah, but
Good luck. I mean, good work.
yeah, I mean, it's bothered me from the beginning
Yeah,
because
no, it does.
the previous company was expensive too, but we got billed by the hour. And that to me is easier to swallow than trying to come up with reasons to call them just so I feel like I'm getting my money's worth.
Yeah, well, we're all.
thank you for the clarification, and thank you for the continued work to find something cheaper, because to me, it is a little outrageous.
Well, and it's,
If that's what we were paying.
yeah, it's hard for me too, because to go shopping for somebody to provide a service that you know absolutely nothing about is not real easy. I mean, I don't know how to do
They could
that
say
stuff.
10 things and we're like, okay. We need that?
Well, maybe we can reach out to our small communities around us, so.
Yeah,
That's what we're doing.
yeah, Stephanie got that information, so yeah, I'm definitely gonna be looking into that, so.
And I have one more question, and Joseph, hope you can answer this, or Angie. Is council responsible for appropriations
What do you mean?
on all funding?
Personally responsible?
Yeah, council.
You mean on appropriating?
Appropriations of funds, but also specifically contracts. Is there a limit that the city administrator is allowed to
Yeah.
get into a contract without it coming to council?
Oh.
A long-term
That's
contract?
procurement.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's in the city administrator ordinance.
What was the limit on that?
I think it's $10,000 before I have to get you to authorize it.
Okay, so,
If it's, as long as it's in the budget. I can't go spend $10,000 on something that's not already outlined in the budget.
right, and I'm bringing up again the going to the cloud thing of 300 or 400 or 500 a month, whatever it's going to be. That's a long-term contract, or is that a year-to-year? And then once they got your files, you're kind of sucked into that? I mean, you could be like a forever contract there? That's what I'm kind
Oh,
of
the
wondering.
archiving?
Yeah, it would have to be forever, otherwise it's all.
I don't remember that coming to council. I don't
It doesn't
remember
have to.
it was brought to us, like this is what we're going to do, but I don't remember a vote on it or anything.
You guys voted in favor of adopting the budget last year. The actual contract itself, you guys don't have to approve.
Because the money was in the budget outlined, this is what we're going to spend.
And the annual amount isn't even close to $10,000.
Right.
The contract amount that you're
I'm
talking
just
about is
looking-
like, so if we go hire somebody to do a specific project, it's not our monthly bills. Because then we'd have to bring everything to you guys. I mean, we'd have to bring the Frontier, you know, everything, the phones, I mean, hell, West Oregon's cost us more than 10 grand a month. I mean, it's like, I think that rule pertains to procurement, which is if we need to go build something,
Or have someone
do something, or we're gonna hire a new engineer, or, you know, whatever, where there's a set dollar amount for that contract, that's what that is for.
But if you do something that is not let's say it's a, you know, out of the ordinary sort of thing, that you're not doing the average everyday business that you normally conduct, that may or may not be aware, but fairly aware of, just as a matter of courtesy and communications, it doesn't hurt to, when the council sets down with maybe sometimes some of those things, but it's also up to the council to bring it up, you know, I mean, maybe possibly.
Yeah, I mean, that could be
You're not
all.
gonna go out there and review everything you do every day, but if you do certain things that are not normal, your normal.
I don't do anything that's not in the budget, Bruce.
I know.
So that would be when I come to you guys like, hey, this isn't in the budget, this is what we want to do, this is why you need to authorize me. If you guys approve it in the budget, I'm not going to come tell you I'm doing it that month. I'm going to do what it is you've already seen in the budget. And that's why those cover sheets say, in this fund, we're planning on A, B, C. And that's the moment that you guys would say no, or what, or, right? So I think I'd spend a lot of time, every time one of you came in, I went through all of those things in the budget that you've already approved that I'm then gonna do, if that makes sense.
Well, I'm just going on our own personal relationship. When I sat down with you in the office, if there's something that's unusual or something that's coming up, like on the buildings, or something that rises to that level, you know, it doesn't have to be $10,000, but it's something extraordinary. You usually comment on it, so you give me a heads up, this is what's going on, you know, so I'm not in the dark about, you know, all of a sudden this happened or that happened. I think that's a common courtesy.
Yeah, I think I just do that out of my normal talking with you guys, of
Yeah.
what's happening.
That's fine.
I don't like go, oh, I told him and him and her and him. I just, if you're in my office and something's happened, just then it may just come out that, oh, well, this is what's going on. But I don't like keep a running tally of what I've shared with you. But the budget is really how you guys set what we spend money on.
Well, I understand that, but let's just say you had a $50,000 line item on something, and you say, well, you appropriated that line item, now I'm gonna go sign a contract for $50,000 a year.
I can't do that without you operating me a second.
Well, that's basically what the cloud thing is, that's forever, right?
It's not,
Because if you stop doing it, then you can't get your information, right?
Can I just ask a question? Are you guys absolutely against having that kind of software?
No, I'm just asking a question on a long-term thing. If just because you have a lot of money in it for 1 year, does that automatically say that the city administrator has the power to get into a long-term type of deal?
But it's not a long-term type of deal, because at the next budget, if the council and the budget committee decided not to do it, they could cancel that. They'd have to figure out what they're gonna do to remedy it, but they could cancel that.
Right.
And I'm not even saying it's a bad idea. I'm not
No, but
saying,
that's what I'm saying, that's your moment in time. If, you know, you want to cancel that next year, you'd have to help staff figure out how it's cost effective and what happens, how do you pull those documents or digitally get them or whatever we would have to do to remedy it.
Well, just to go a little bit farther on that, at any time, any moment in time, if we have a majority of the council says, we don't want this, we want to stop this, we want to move forward, then it's up to us, it's incumbent upon us to pay the price for whatever the liabilities that might be, stopping that, whatever. But we have that power to do that. You know, whether it's the wise thing to do or not, are two different things.
You can direct staff to cancel something.
Yes, yes. So actually you have ultimate power over appropriation.
As a body, the
Yeah,
body,
that's
the
why,
majority.
yeah, majority.
kind of what one angle I'm getting at is just a protection of staff also. If you, 5 years down the road, how did we get into this? Well, at least council said, yeah, we want to go that route of paying this company to go into the cloud. They can double the rate if they want 3 years from now. You never know. Once they kind of got you, you're stuck with them, kind of unless you pay to get transferred to microfilm or whatever, get it all back. That would be my only concern is it's a short-term contract, but really it's a long-term contract because it's a whole different way of doing things. And I was just kind of a little bit caught off guard when all said, oh, there is a budget. And,
but it's, what's the dollar amount? It's like a couple thousand or something.
It was in the budget last year. Yeah.
It's not very much.
What's it in there?
It's through this, that is not one item. That line item is not one thing.
It's also your guys' social media.
yeah, I mean, I'm not even talking about the cost. I'm just talking about something that's a long-term cost for the city that's going to continue pretty much forever if you go that direction. And if times get tough, then you're all of a sudden you're stuck in this, well, we have to have this, we have to have this, we have to have this.
Well, there's a few mandated things you have to have as a municipality. That's going to be one of them. That's just going to be a given that that's long-term, however you do it, whether it's scanning them or keeping them digitally yourself, that's one of the things that we have to do by state law. The rest of it's all kind of movable.
And I'm sure there's a site where, hey, this is going to be more efficient, it's going to save us time, and like you talked about briefly, the records and all that, which is great. I just wonder if it's in council's authority to have that brought to council before we get involved in a long-term.
But it was brought the last 2 years to council through the budget process. It's not legal for us to bring council alone stuff that we're then going to bring to the budget committee unless it happens in a year where you're going to do it outside of what's already adopted in the budget, if that makes sense. Because the whole point of the 5 and 5 is that the citizenry knows everything that the council knows that's coming forward. So unless Stephanie brought that up in the middle of the year and we were going to spend it, we didn't have a line item for it, that's when council alone would have that determination, if that makes sense what I'm saying. So just pay attention in the budget and really delve in. If we have things listed on those front pages, you gotta be thinking, if you don't like it, but for the last 2 years, we put that money there to start that process. So us starting it is nothing 2 years ago we all didn't agree to, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You could agree next year to not do it, but then the ramifications are gonna be looked at.
Right. And even within that law, the council still has the ability to, prior to the adoption of this resolution.
Yeah, you can do.
You can change, the council alone can change that.
They can change it in this law.
I think the first year I was on the budget committee,
They
they changed it.
And we were pissed.
Yeah.
Because as citizens, we were on the budget committee, we were like, what the hell did we do all this work for? And we were just gonna change it. Why didn't you say it then? I guess is how we felt with that.
But they were in our legal record.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't recommend it.
You okay, JR?
Yeah, I just was looking for a little clarification. I've read where some city council, or city administrators have, 120,000 they can write a contract. So, I mean, it's in some bigger cities, whatever, but there's different rules for everywhere, obviously.
Yeah, ours is a city administrative ordinance and then my employment contract. Those are the two documents that govern how I function in this job.
I think at one time we had $50,000, wasn't it?
It was up there a while back,
I remember that.
in the early 2000s.
And then we brought it back down.
Just had more oversight.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with the current city administrator.
I think I was the mayor.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's good to have something to do with it.
Any other discussion on this resolution? We can move forward, maybe?
Sorry to drag that out.
No.
It's eating at me. No, better to get it out.
Yeah.
At least you're paying attention.
Trying to.
Yeah.
Just need a motion.
Anyone like to make a motion to adopt the resolution tonight?
I think I made every motion tonight.
I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution 2020-206, resolution of the City Council of the City of Vernonia, Oregon, adopting the fiscal year budget 2020-2021 year, electing to receive state revenues, making appropriations, imposing the taxes, and categorizing the taxes for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2020.
Thank you, JR. Is there a second? Councilor Wagner seconded the motion. Any further discussion before I ask for a roll call? Okay.
Councilor Wagner.
Aye.
Mayor Hobart.
Aye.
Councilor Allen.
Aye.
Councilor McNair. Councilor Webb.
All right.
Motion carried.
There's no correspondence tonight, other than from Eileen Brady. Items from the mayor, councilors, and city administrator.
I can do something.
Okay.
Of course. It's good to see everybody. I miss meeting with you guys.
Good to see you guys too.
We managed quite well. I was impressed by how we managed under the phone, doing the phone call in. But I prefer to be face to face.
I'm glad JR has his pants on tonight. You have your teleconference in your underwear and everything.
I think that was.
Yeah, like, what the heck?
You guys in my.
You had me lost there for a minute, Mayor.
You ready for me?
I am.
So I don't have a written report, it's been a little period, professionally and in my life. Okay, so I did talk to Councilor Webb about the action item list. We're kind of behind on updating it with all the because we usually do that in the downtime. We're just kind of doing everything as we normally would, but that document is not updated, so I thought I'd go through my summer 2020 list with you guys. Kind of give you a little quick thing of what's on the plate of the city staff. So we have a number of tree projects. We're hoping, so a little sidebar, Jamboree has been canceled for the year. So they're not going to, we're going to do more of a local business kind of specials, and they're looking at doing a 2020 Monopoly board for the t-shirt and incorporating everything that's happened in 2020 that led to Jamboree being closed. So we're going to start with Tim Community, and we're going to go through COVID and murder hornets and the lake beyond the water. So we're fashioning it after the flood monopoly that I have hanging in my office. I don't know if you saw that, but Community Action Team did a flood monopoly board. They're going to do something like that and sell t-shirts as the big fundraiser. So be on the lookout for those. They should be pretty cool. But because that kind of gives us an ample opportunity to really let Hawkins Park dry out before we drop the cottonwoods. Because one of the fears is if the ground's saturated, the damage that will be done to the flat surface. So we have trees in Hawkins Park, Airport Park, and then we also have the timber contract that needs to go out for Bullmeyer. Paving on River, Umatilla, and Arkansas, which we talked about won't happen until the next fiscal year, but in July, we have those 3 bids for the small cities allotment funding, pay those 3. The Weed Avenue storm drain, we have, we're rerouting the stormwater that goes to Bear Creek from Health Center, West Oregon, and would be Rose Avenue, and we're getting a permit to go under the linear trail and discharge all of that overflow from those retention ponds into the Mahalem, so that should help with the flooding. We're working on the Lakeview sewer relocation. That line of houses has the sewer line under it. We've done a preliminary design. We're waiting on the easement to be able to drop it down the end of that triangle lot that was purchased and the house just got built there. 6th Street sewer relocation needs to be completed. The cemetery concrete getting installed, that's one of the projects. We've gotten bids, they've been way higher than we expected, and we don't know if it's because we chose some smaller local firms. So we put out a couple of feelers to larger firms because maybe it's too much for the one-man show to take on, and so he prices it a little high to cover himself. So we're waiting for the bigger bids to come back for the columbarium and the urn garden pathway. We have the columbarium ordered, and so once the concrete's in and PSI tested, then we'll be placing the columbarium, so columbarium installation. There's a number of things that the Public Works, to save money, are going to be doing on Rose Avenue project. So we're going to be doing the cedar fence trash enclosure, which the contractor wanted $8,000 for. We're going to be putting in the dock bumpers, doing some attaching of the paper towels, hand soap, all that kind of stuff. Little things that saved us a lot of money on that project. We're currently purchasing the furniture for the two entities are purchasing the furniture because it's their money that's going to be used for that, for the Rose Avenue project. They're currently handing out food certificates for the restaurants for June and July. Their goal is to have a cook, and even if it has to be takeout meals in August, be supporting their meal program through the building in the kitchen starting August. So they won't be handing out any more of those restaurant certificates, and all restaurant certificates will expire July 31st. If they haven't used them, they will be no good at the restaurants. I'm hoping to have, we've done the back and forth, as you guys know, with the different documents for the Mickerson Estates issue, and I'm hoping to have an executive session at our next meeting with some conclusion to that. Just kind of as we hope, knock on wood. It seems like it's going, the back and forth of little tweaks are going pretty well. And then we did confirm that if we do get that finished before the end of June, the agreement, that we would have the stormwater done by Public Works installed by August 31st. Because they wanted a timeline when they would know they could sell the lots and not have the disruption to the land. So, and I talked with Public Works, and they're more than comfortable that they can get the disturbance to the 2 lots that are affected done by August 31st. We're still, so we removed all the railings at the snack shack, and we ordered the aluminum railings that are gonna go on the current concrete, what remains of the concrete, that'll keep it safety, and if God forbid a flood happens, it'll come up and go down, and we'll hose them off and not be any worse for it. Then one of the last things I have on here is the regrading of the wetland borrow site. So high and dry time of summer, we're going to regrade that, put a little ravine in there so that the water actually gets to the culvert that goes under the linear trail. So we're probably not going to do a ton to the flat areas. We're just going to gently slope it so it leads there and gets out, and it leaves more plantable area for this winter for trees to be replanted there.
That'll be taken out of rehab.
Rehab's dead.
What do you want to come for that then?
Well, it's probably, depending on how much it is and how much it costs us, it'd probably just be a Public Works sewer expense, man hours in sewer.
I thought that was going to be paid for by the rehab.
Rehab's a zeroed out fund now, so any sewer things are gonna have to come out of
Yeah,
sewer.
rehab was just distracted grant money's all.
And once it was gone, it kind of zeroed out. So, and I'll be bringing that, once I know kind of the cost, if it's gonna need somebody with a bigger cat and we're gonna have to go out for procurement or something, then I'll know what that is, potentially. And then we just have little things like getting the awnings on the Learning Center, hanging the park signs are ordered for kind of letting people know it's a fee park enforcement area. Not everywhere, every few spots we're putting a little reminder at the lake parking and over on the gravel area, so if people park there, they know, hey, and it says the kiosk by the restrooms, not the flagpole. So we cleaned up that, and we got a new entrance one, because that also says pay by the flagpole. So clean that up. And the wording were most important to clean up there was, it said day use fee, and our insurance does not, it is a parking fee, because the day use and the liability that comes with day use, anyone can come there, and just because you park there does not. So, all those got changed to parking fee. We're still looking into lanyards where the park goes. Yes.
I have a question. Going back to the machine there to get the parking
Yes.
fee instead of the day use fee,
Yes.
that thing's a nightmare. Have you seen all the notes that have had to be put on that so you can figure it out? If Susie hadn't put all those on there, hell, I wouldn't have been able to get a ticket, you know? You have to push and hold and wait till a little light comes on, then do this, and then do that, and then do this. I
It's funny
think
that
people probably
nobody
give up.
mentioned it to me that there was an issue with the machine.
Well, anyway, my point was, are we upgrading that machine?
Yeah, it's in the budget to change it over to take cards.
It's just gonna upgrade it.
Will that change it to like a flat screen, or is it still gonna be the same analog?
Same thing. I didn't know that there was an issue. There's been no problems with it that I'm aware of, other than occasionally the pointing.
We ought to all go down there and not read the directions and try to buy a ticket. Probably surprise us. I know it surprised me, but I don't know if there's
So I
a...
think one of the things that I talked to Susie about is taking off all the notes. Just do a simple direction sheet bullet list. Paint. Because that's really, I think, where it's starting to become problematic is you're trying to...
Which note to
It's a
read
lot, yeah. It's a lot of stuff on there. Plus the social distancing, plus, all the stuff, no fishing was staged up there for a while, it was overkill. So we're working on...
So the upgrade doesn't change that part of it, it's just gonna allow the credit card to be used?
Yeah, it's just gonna take credit.
As far as I know, I don't know that he's changing out the interface. I mean, I could ask.
Yeah, that'd be great if you could ask, because that interface is pretty old, and see if there's,
Yeah, it's
what
been there for a
that
long
difference would
time.
be.
Yeah, we can ask. Any other questions?
Just the concrete thing up there, you're just talking a few yards of concrete for a base on that?
No, because it's like 17,000 pounds or something, the columbarium, and so it's gotta be, and so one of the tricky parts is, we don't want it to be like a rolling hill. So the one side they're gonna have to excavate and pour a little deeper, and the other side is gonna be less excavated, and so that it's a flush thing, so all of it just has weird elements.
It's just a mono pad though, how long is it?
No, it's actually two.
Two pads?
It's the base and then what sits up on, what it sits up on.
Pedestal.
Yeah, pedestal.
Oh, so it's like a foundation coming up? Is that-
There's like a foundation pad and then there's a pedestal that it sits on, right? Because it's kind of up off of it, it doesn't sit flush on the first
In
layer.
front of the walk.
Yeah, and then the walkway is long with circles and then long in another circle. So it's just, I think, I talked to some locals, one of them was Ford, he was just like,
We should
"That just seems really
go,
good."
yeah, you probably check with someone who just does a lot of concrete, they
Yeah.
probably say, I bust that out in 3 days.
Right, and that's why we were trying to go local and smaller, but I think it's just kind of a lot for the one-man show, so that's why we're going to a couple other firms to get it. Any other questions?
Yeah, how's the senior center coming along? I haven't been inside.
Great. We have all so currently we're just waiting for plumbing final and electrical is probably 80% done. We had to wait for the acoustical tiles that kind of sound deaden. Those didn't come until last week, so they've got those up. So now they're just doing final lighting. The walk-ins are in, everything's pretty much in. There's just little tweaks, door stops, paint stains, a cedar that's up above that wraps around, paint touch-up. I went through and did the blue tape version. There's a spot.
Are the paper and soaps motion activated?
Say,
The soaps and paper towels, that motion activated?
no.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, they are? Not like the kind we do?
We don't have those. They're all of ours are touchless.
Touchless,
No,
yeah.
not in our bathroom.
Yeah, they are.
No, it isn't. It's a lever you push with your
Oh, the
hand.
soap? Well, maybe the soap sold, but the paper towels.
Yeah, paper
are-
towels, yeah. most.
I think I did all of them.
Wash with their hands.
Not me.
Yeah, we saw performing that, you said?
Well, because all of the apparatus is the types we use in all the city buildings. So the units came to us from the supplier, and we're just gonna do the attaching ourselves.
Okay. It's just, yeah, there's different, some people use to stick them, and that's a nightmare later, trying to move them.
Yeah, usually we very carefully level it out and do the one time, once it's done, attachment to the wall.
There's some pretty cool acres you might be interested in for that.
Yeah,
That
should
hold
we-
Quite well. so.
Information.
I do not own the road, but I have to leave. I can't do this.
Okay, thank you.
Hope you feel better.
Yeah.
Better soon.
I will be calling about the diet.
So hopefully what we're trying to do with Rose Avenue is get all that dialed in. What we talked about is we can't really have the big old grand opening. So we're talking about doing.
Phase 2.
Well, it limits you to the people, so we were talking about like maybe a morning run through and people could sign up, if we can go to 50 with social distancing, people could sign up to be in the morning, which would be council and whoever's interested on Saturday morning or something, and then do it afternoon run where maybe the senior boards, food bank boards, council, and some other people come in the first run to see it all, and then the second run be public or something.
Go ahead, Dale.
Just kind of a question for staff. So, in our minutes, back in May 5th, we had ordinance 923. And
Next meeting.
next meeting.
Expected you guys to get to this meeting very quickly.
So we
Okay.
didn't bring it to you guys.
Okay, so So we have something, what do you use to remind yourself that, I mean,
I'm just brilliant. No, your guys' action item list, sticky notes,
okay.
paths, each other. Chief just came and talked to me about it today. So I didn't bring you guys that one because there are currently restrictions on the number of public who could attend this meeting. And so because you guys were wanting more public participation and opportunities for them to attend, then we did not bring it to you. I chose not to bring it to you today.
Okay. And I think, was there a portion of that too? For Scott, we were hoping maybe to get a little more in the paper about that ordinance for people who were aware of that.
I don't remember.
Right, I don't think we knew when we were going to be talking about it.
Yeah, so I would reach out to them.
Okay, I mean, it just kind of that outreach part of it, I think that was kind of the hesitancy the council kind of had on that, is like, we'd like to have a little bit of citizen input here, or at least have their opportunity to be aware of it, because the ramifications of it is, I don't know if this council, but their council go, wow, we're going to change all the streets to different, you might,
Yeah, so public notice will be posted in the paper, on the website, it'll be copied over to Facebook, and then it would be in your guys' agenda also. So,
They still would have to go street by street and ordinance to change it.
each street would be a,
Yeah, they couldn't just decide it. It would have to.
no, I thought this
it
was
would
a one.
depend, on what you guys chose to do. If it was Willamette, it was Missouri Avenue, or others designated.
Yeah, it can be designated as a later date, we would have to come back.
Council.
Yeah.
Each individual street, if we designated one and another term.
Yeah, so it would be a public meeting where they would hear it.
So, well, I mean, every time we amended that ordinance, then, when we did an addition, we'd be amending the ordinance to include the new
So
streets.
the best way to do it for me would be for you guys to adopt the ordinance, state that you guys, and that streets would be designated, future streets would be designated by resolution.
Which then would be a hearing,
No.
adopted by resolution. That's why it's important for the public to understand.
What do you mean a hearing? Because an ordinance doesn't necessarily get a hearing.
I think what he means is that it wouldn't take 30 days for it to take effect, it would have to be publicly noticed 10 days ahead of time.
No, but they still have their 30 days to, about the
Not
resolution.
resolutions, resolutions are directed, sorry, they are directed prematurely.
Yeah, because isn't that when they did the smoking one?
That was the point. Resolutions take effect immediately.
Could you repeat that?
Resolutions take effect immediately. Ordinances go into effect in 30 days unless deemed an emergency. And this is not deemed an emergency.
Dale's worried about future councils doing it by resolution and kind of sideline it.
Yeah.
Well, resolutions don't have the same effect that an ordinance does. It doesn't have the same, just council's will.
Well, it depends on what's within it.
If it's changing the street speed limit, it would.
It doesn't have the same effect. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I just thought, that was the reservation some of us had on it, was wanting to make sure the citizens were fully aware that we're adopting that ordinance and what the potential ramifications could be. I mean, I'm not thinking anything nefarious here, it's not happening, but
Well,
you know what it is?
20 or 25, so I don't know what you're gonna,
Yeah.
You'll include that in your action item, Joseph, tonight, this ordinance.
yeah, it's already on the agenda for next meeting.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Joseph, did you have a completion date for the senior center?
No, I mean, our goal is to have it be done by 4th of July. That's the
4th of
contract.
July, yeah.
Yeah. So that was the date, the contract is up.
Right.
I believe we're going to be under that by a couple weeks.
Oh, good. Yeah, so mid-June?
Yeah. It's really, we have a few things. They have to get some concrete bumpers and stripe the handicap parking. We have to stripe the rest of the parking. So it's little teeny things to be done.
What did you say about a cedar fence? $8,000?
Yeah, so this trash enclosure is like 15 feet feet by 18 feet,
In the back.
and they wanted $8,000 for that. And I said, no, we'll have Tom and Ben just do it, they just did it, the
Yeah.
cemetery, that's
A
ridiculous.
quarter of that.
Oh, not even, maybe
Yeah.
less than $1,000 in wood in total.
Wow.
So, and then we'll stain it the same as the wood that's stained everywhere else, so.
Okay.
Isn't that all concrete?
It's a concrete, the trash enclosure is a little concrete stem wall, but then you have to screen from residential.
So you have to bolt to concrete?
Yeah, it's got brackets for the 4x4 sticking out of the concrete right now. They prepped it like that and they just left the wood for us to do.
And you've been in verbal contact with Sandy and Eileen about the generator?
Yeah, so looks like the money that they have in their skin in the game in the budget will pay for their portions of it. And I asked Power Systems Plus, which is the firm in Banks that gave us the best price for the Kohler 60 kVA generator, to do an installation and startup bid, like come in, install it, and start it up for us, and make sure it's running right, and so I'm waiting for that bid.
So they decided to go with a brand new one? Good. Yeah. Any other questions? Scott?
Can I ask a quick question to the city administrator?
Sure.
Is City Hall reopened?
It is not reopened. Most municipal buildings in Columbia County are waiting until the formal phase 2 opening.
Thank you.
Friday, nobody was there, and the front
No.
doors were padlocked.
Yeah, so we have employees that are, because of homeschooling and stuff, are still, most of us aren't there on Fridays. Because we have to be at work all week and then our kids have packets due on Monday.
Her house caught on fire too.
Yeah.
The what?
Her house caught on fire too.
No way.
So it's been a great,
Cooking?
You're really asking for it tonight, aren't you?
Did you say cooking?
My wife caught on
How long did the fire department?
no, combusting bark fest actually.
Wow.
Around the house?
Caught my fence on fire and scorched the side of my house.
Barn Dust Consulting?
When did that happen?
Friday.
Oh,
I hope the fire department didn't take too long to get there.
Well, we had it out before the fire department got there, and they're like, you guys are really quick, would you want to be on the volunteer fire department? Saber's like, no. And Jasper's standing there in his underwear, and he's like, I think I still smell smoke. You know, it's horrible.
Jasper's out there like too late.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah. So then we had to go feel all the bark dust to make sure nothing else was too hot.
okay, are we ready for an action item?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, Joe.
Ready? So we're going to relay to Tom and Ben big thank yous from council for the great work at the cemetery. We're going to work with Mr. Ederos to adjust his water usage to 75%. We're going to look at the sign, the handicap signage for the dock and bring that to the next meeting. We're going to bring ordinance 923 to the next meeting. And there was something else in here. Set up the maximum dock allowance and open up the docks, and then ask about the interface of the lake kiosk and if it's getting upgraded or if that costs money to upgrade potentially. Anything else?
Is there any way you could download that evaluation stuff off that whole,
And send it to you.
yeah, so that the rest of the council.
Send that article, okay.
Oh, that legal Oregon City thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm doing that.
And I've got one more thing. We're going to, the Lions Club is, some of the Lions Club members are going to clean out the wading pool, pressure wash that, and get ready for the dam to go in. So we're going to probably do that within a week or so.
We're hoping that, so the dam is scheduled to go in 15, 16, the Monday, or the Tuesday. We're hoping that we're in phase 2, because if it isn't, we'll have to keep the rear boards down, so as we don't fill up the kiddie pool, because currently under phase one, pools are not allowed. Even with social distancing, aquatic pools aren't allowed. So the river's a separate thing, but the wading pool would be clearly just, hey, we're breaking the rules. So we're hoping we get into phase two by then, so they can put the weir boards all the way up.
How many people can gather in phase two?
100 outdoor.
So
15.
couldn't we have a pretty good little party at the senior center if it was out in the parking lot and only so many people went through at a time?
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Yeah, so it really just depends. I mean, part of it is we want to kind of lead the group, the two entities, because they're kind of worried about damage and stuff. They really want to lead people through it.
I need
And not just have a free for all where people are going.
I appreciate it.
So I'm kind of working with them to make sure, because their furniture and their desks and computers and everything should be in there when we do it. So I'm nervous about that.
It's their party, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we could have a morning tour for you guys and then have an afternoon tour and then like a little parking lot party or something where we do covered pop-ups and, you know, cake or something. But we're working, trying to see how it works.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Josette. I'll adjourn this meeting evidently. Meeting adjourned at 10 p.m.